as a 10-year-old, I felt like misunderstood. I felt lost. I felt alone. And all that pain, I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know what was true. I didn't know who I was and what was going on. And all of that just, it so powerfully just got transmuted into the musical creativity, because that was the thing that I knew.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I could control.
Welcome to Beyond the Bass, a podcast where we go beyond the music and into the full, authentic stories of your favorite artists. No sound bites or surface level moments. This is truly a space for depth, honesty, and connection. It's my hope you'll walk away feeling more connected to your favorite artists and maybe even a tad more inspired to pursue your own passions too. Today's guest is Mossien, better known as Ossien. He's a Denver-based producer that blends big band jazz with hard-hitting dubstep, future funk, and drum and bass. With over 17 years of formal jazz training, he brings a unique sound to the scene, which often includes live performances of saxophone at his shows. He's received support from artists including Chris Lake, Subtronics, Fluxabillion, and Virtual Riot. Feel free to listen in pieces or jump around as you like. Now let's dive in. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I'm so stoked you're here.
Thanks, dude. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah. We've had a fun morning. All the stuff's happened. I feel like just a lot of craziness. And now we get to be here and be present for the next few hours.
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to be nice.
Yeah. Well, sweet. I love to start these episodes by asking the guest what ultimately you hope your fans will take away from your story from this episode.
That's a really, really good question. Gosh, that could be answered in so many ways. I would say that I think I would want them to take away that you're the creator of your reality. Life is good, and yeah, dude, you can achieve what you want to achieve in your life. I'm gonna keep it at that for now, because I know we're gonna get deeper. But
of course, we're definitely gonna get deeper.
Yeah.
I love that. I think we're definitely gonna dive deeper and explore what that means. I usually start an episode by surprising the guests with a childhood photo or something to help them jog their memory of childhood. But you're kind of like you're not that big on socials. Like, I was going back and I couldn't find like baby photos or things that would be fun to present. and when I say like not big on socials, of course you post a lot, but like you don't have childhood photos. I found, some Facebook pages and whatnot, but nothing that'd be like, oh, this is like what baby Mark looks like, and this is what he was during the time. So I don't have one for you.
That's too bad.
But I will say,
good thing you didn't find my mom's Facebook.
I found your Facebook.
You found my mom's Facebook?
Bridget is her name?
Yeah. I guess you didn't dive deep enough, my friend.
I found your mom's Facebook, but like it wouldn't let me see any of the photos.
Oh, okay.
So she's got her privacy settings correct.
Oh, there's some embarrassing stuff with me in there.
Well, I'm sure there is, but it's not available to someone that's not friends with her.
That's so funny. I actually thought it was public. I guess not. Yeah.
Maybe she changed it. But I did find your mom's Facebook. I found a video of you playing the sax. I think it was at your high school graduation.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I was actually literally 2 nights ago, I was doing a dive into the past, watching some of those with a couple of my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching like some of my old recitals. I played a concerto.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, when I was 18. Yeah, so a concerto is basically it's a solo for an instrument with orchestra behind you.
Cool.
So imagine like an orchestra is playing, like you go to see an orchestra, but then there's a soloist standing on stage. So there's like a violin concerto or a piano concerto, or in my case it was the alto sax concerto.
Cool.
Yeah. So we were actually we were like watching that the other day.
Yeah.
Like 2 nights ago.
Oh, fun. Okay,
yeah.
so maybe
that was 8 years ago.
Oh, good.
Crazy.
So maybe we could just dive right into like the childhood. But before we do, I want to hit you with a question that I think your listeners would appreciate, because I know you're big on, like you said, creating your own reality and, thinking about positive things and feeling good and kind of controlling the thoughts in your head. I'm really curious to know what thought makes you feel the best.
Oh, I love that question. What thought makes me feel the best? I would say, literally the words, I am so grateful.
Mm.
And then you can imagine an underline next to that. I am so grateful, or I am so grateful for, boom. Dude, like if I'm having a bad day, I get small. Like I'm so grateful for this pencil. Like I'm grateful for my toothbrush. I'm grateful for like my house. Even now, I'm starting to feel okay. So what happens is when I do this well is like I start to tear up.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! I'm grateful for my house. Like I'm grateful for my coffee. I'm grateful for like these little things, like my clothes.
Yeah.
Even, and like when you really get into the feeling of that,
Right.
That to me is like what makes me feel the best is the gratitude.
Yeah. Follow-up question there. Like, how do you get into that feeling? Because I imagine a lot of people are listening. They're like, okay, but I could just say I'm grateful, but I don't actually feel it.
It's because you're not focused. If you don't actually feel it, it's because your mind isn't actually focused on the thing that you're trying to be grateful for. Because to me, feelings follow thoughts.
Sure.
Not the other way around. So if you're trying to do gratitude but you don't feel grateful, it's because you're actually thinking about something else that's making you not feel good. And so you just got to get your mind focused on the thing you're grateful for. So I'll expand it in my mind. Like, I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for that. And the worse you feel, the more important this is.
Mm.
To me, and it's that to me right there is our job, is to get ourselves back to these better feeling places when we're not feeling good, using these thoughts in our mind.
Yeah.
And if we will do that, magic will happen in our lives.
I love that. We'll absolutely touch on that, like once we get to like, the meat of where you are at today, because it's obviously a big part of your mindset and how you view the world. But I'd love to kind of rewind the clock and start back to the young Mark.
Yeah.
Where unfortunately I don't have any baby photos to like jog your memory of. But why don't you tell us what it was like growing up as Mark in Connecticut?
Man, so I was an energetic kid from what I've been told. Yeah, like earliest memory is literally me knocking over a shelf that had a bunch of puzzles on it and throwing all the puzzle pieces together into a pile on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And letting my mom clean it up. It's funny, I haven't actually thought of that in a while. Earliest memory, yeah. Apparently I used to just run around a lot. Sometimes I'd run around in the neighborhood in my underwear.
Wow. Just
very, very energetic. Very energetic. Not chill at all.
Yeah.
I was not a chill kid. And, that took a road for the negatives at times, as it does with kids,
And so your parents are largely telling you this. Like, you mentioned the shelf.
Yeah.
Shelf of puzzles.
That's a weird memory that is in my head that I kind of remember, that also my parents told me happened. For another instance is so apparently I had this like toy fire truck or something, not like a small one, 2-3 foot long one, like a decent size like toy fire truck.
Yeah. And
I would just ram it into the wall. And apparently I ram it into the wall so hard that I broke through the wall, broke through the drywall.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I may have been like 4 or 5, dude. Yeah.
That's really cool.
I was a handful.
And so you have a sister, correct?
I have a sister, yeah.
Younger?
Older. Yeah.
And was she where does this energy come from? Where did this energy come from? Well, was she also energetic?
That's a good question. No, I would say she's pretty different, actually. She definitely was not as that energetic.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is unique to you, not necessarily like a family dynamic thing.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so.
You mentioned that, there were some negatives to that, and I imagine some positives. Do you recall in your childhood, what those were?
Negatives in regards to what would you say?
Well, you used the word negative. So I was like, my guess is we meant that might have got you into
I think
trouble.
I just meant in terms of my parents raising a child. It was hard for them. because I could misbehave a lot, and I was just a lot to handle as a kid.
Yeah.
For parents, that's kind of what I meant.
Okay.
And yeah,
Did that
I
get
think
you into trouble?
I feel like it did. I mean, I don't know. It definitely, like, things were definitely tough growing up. I mean, I was a lot to handle. I don't think my parents were like prepared for it. I think also they like had a rough go of as kids themselves. And so I think some of those things translated into the way that I grew up. So yeah, no, things were a little tough growing up for sure.
That's a really
I think everyone could say that in some way, but yeah.
I would say most people.
Yeah.
It's an interesting observation that you had where you said that, things were rough for them, and so maybe that's why it led to some stuff in your childhood. Can you elaborate on that?
I can. Yeah. I think there was a lot of fighting growing up, and I think a lot of that fighting could have been avoided if there was more healing that was done in my parents, specifically my dad. And I would tell him this. I would tell him this too.
Sure.
I think if he had responded to me as opposed to reacting to me and taking things personally when I was misbehaving or acting up, we could have avoided a lot of conflict and a lot of strife and a lot of trauma. But there's no blame here.
Sure.
It just is what it is what it is, and they did the best. He did his best.
Sure.
With what they knew,
Yeah.
But these things get passed down.
Oh, for sure.
These things get passed down.
For sure.
And so someone's got to handle it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying he didn't.
Yeah.
I am saying that a little bit, but I'm not like saying he like completely didn't try or anything like that.
Sure.
I just think there's a lack of education about, especially in that generation, about like just who we are and how to deal with things like that. Like, he had a rough childhood.
Sure.
I mean, mom was gone when he was 4. Like what? Like how do you handle that?
Yeah.
There's no internet, and he I don't think he might be sharing this, but like, he had an older brother growing up, so mom would be gone, dad would be at work, and then older brother would wail on him when they were gone. And it's like, wow, it's like, that's tough.
Sure.
What does a kid do with that? But internalize it, and more specifically, and more deeply, and more neurologically, what does the body do with that? But internalize it, because what is our body supposed to do? It's supposed to keep us alive. So now the body is storing that trauma. That the body is holding those experiences as physical neural superhighways of cells and neural pathways together to keep you in a parasympathetic to keep you in a sympathetic state of nervous system, so that the next threat doesn't catch you by surprise. And so then 40 years later, he's raising me, and we get into these fights. Boom. Yeah. It comes up again, and it's like, if you don't know that, you can't manage it and you can't deal with it, and so you think your kid's out to get you.
Totally.
You think everyone's out to get you, and he's not alone. Like, I think there's millions of people who are living like that right now.
More than millions. I would say
more than millions. Absolutely.
Majority of the global population.
Like most people.
Yeah.
Yeah, are in a survival state most of the time.
Sure. Yeah, it's a really good way to describe generational trauma.
It's exactly what I truly believe that's actually what generational trauma is.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's us being stuck in a survival state because of a past need for survival that is now no longer needed, but our bodies don't know that.
Sure.
And we have to teach them different. And I think that's what we're doing, actually. We're really waking up to that now. I do believe that, too, to be true.
I would say definitely our generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you mentioned, I don't remember which podcast, but on one of the episodes that you were in, you mentioned the dinner table was very tense.
It was.
Was that largely because of, you mentioned fighting, like your parents fighting?
I think it wasn't so much my parents fighting as it was me fighting with my parents or me fighting with my dad. And more so the own tension I held towards my own dad. over what was happening in the household, and my inability as a child to understand that, and therefore ground myself in the truth, which is that he didn't do anything wrong. He was trying his best, but I think he like I said, he just hadn't worked through. I don't think he had worked through those things.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Totally. And do you remember like how young you were when you really experienced the brunt of this trauma or like this conflict in the house?
Very young. I would say I recall it starting when I was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, for the record, there's no blame here.
Sure. Totally.
It's just my experience is what it is. My parents, I love them to death, and like we are in such a good place now. Our family is I think our family is healed now. Like we are in such a great spot. Everything is great. We've worked through it. We've talked about these things.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was tough. It was tough. For sure.
Yeah.
It both can be true.
Totally. And so how did you handle that as 8, 9, 10-year-old Mark?
I handled it in healthy and unhealthy ways, I would say. I think I would say at first, so unhealthy ways, I internalized it as an issue with my own worth, an issue with the own expression of my being and who I was on a fundamental core level. Healthy ways, I put it into music. I started playing piano and improvising in the piano, and I never felt safe at home, except when I was at the piano. At the piano, I felt safe. And so at the piano, I would improvise and I'd make music, and this actually brings me to a different experience. I consider myself as extraordinarily fortunate, dude. We did well growing up. We had money. We weren't like rich, like crazy rich, but we had a second house. We'd go on vacations every year. We lived in Connecticut in the suburbs. Like my parents did very well for us. I have these distinct memories actually of, I think I must have been 10. I believe this started when I was like 10, 11, 12. We'd be on our boat in New Hampshire on the lake, just cruising around, and I'd be in the front of the boat by myself. And obviously Dad's driving the boat. We're all on the boat, kind of just, not talking because the boat's moving, whatever. And I would just be in the front of the boat, just sitting on like my knees and just listening to the waves. And I would just close my eyes and I would just be hearing this music in my mind. And it wasn't simple music. There would be these vast symphonies and orchestras and marches and bands just going through. I was like 11, 12.
So this is after you've picked up the piano.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. About the same time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you channeled some of that energy into music and expression.
So yeah, I think that was kind of where it started. Was like, I felt like, I think I felt as a 10-year-old, I felt like misunderstood. I felt lost. I felt alone. And all that pain, I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know what was true. I didn't know who I was and what was going on, and all of that just it so powerfully just got transmuted into the musical creativity, because that was the thing that I knew.
Yeah, that
was the thing that I could control. Always was the music in my brain. So in the front of the boat, I would just be making up these symphonies and playing, and it always felt good. It felt really good to do that, so I kept doing it.
That's really heavy.
Yeah.
But, well, I really appreciate you sharing that.
Of course.
Because it's not easy to go through some of the yuck. But like you said, like it's all part of the journey. It's part of your story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be who I am, for sure.
Sure. What really struck me was when you said, I didn't feel safe at home. Like I was getting emotional just like hearing that and like feeling that, and now getting emotional just thinking about that, because that's so hard for any young child, like not to feel safe in arguably the one and only place that they really should feel safe in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I think when I realized when I realized that my dad had that exact same experience as a kid, except worse, that was when I was able to let it all go.
Yeah.
Because I realized it's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happened to him.
Sure.
And and now I'm getting emotional, and because it's like it isn't. He didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But I didn't know that as a kid. I mean, I in that subjective time, he did everything wrong.
Right.
But like in the bigger picture, he did nothing wrong. He was just doing what he was taught.
Right. If I can ask, like, why were the self-worth questions coming up? Like,
because he blamed me for it. When we fought, and again, I would tell him this too now, but when we fought, it was my fault. I was the problem. I was misbehaving. I was out of line. I was disrespecting him. I was doing this. I was doing that. The source I learned, and this doesn't mean it's true, and I use this word learned intentionally, but I learned that I was the source of the fight. I was the source of the emotional upset. Something about the expression of who I am on a fundamental level is causing emotional upset in a way that I cannot control.
Yeah.
Therefore, I learned to always be on edge, because who I am causes problems. Therefore, if I am who I am, people are going to be upset. But that's not true. And that's the thing. And that's what I learned later in life, really about 2 years ago, actually. I'm still learning it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm still learning that when other people are upset, that has nothing to do with me. That's not to say that, like, we shouldn't treat people well, and like that, you can't say things that upset people or whatever, but like other people's emotions are not my responsibility. And that was something that took me a really long time to learn, because that's not what was true growing
I'll take
up.
it one step further. Other people's states of their nervous system are not your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not my job to regulate you.
Yep.
And I'm speaking from experience here, which
Yeah.
is why I can comment on this.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a touchy but like really important topic. Because
No, totally.
I think a lot of people blame others for the way they feel, and I don't believe that's accurate.
So it's funny. I was scrolling Instagram, and I don't normally see like stuff from Jocko Willink. I think I probably follow him, but you're familiar with him, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he was speaking about, there's a story from one of his friends or someone he knew that served in the Vietnam War that was in a prisoner camp for 6 years. And they had a rule within the prisoner camp, that if someone gets annoyed by someone else, it's not that person's fault. It's the person that's getting annoyed fault. So it's like, there's the person that gets annoyed is being blamed for being annoyed. It's like, why am I annoyed at this person? What in me is being annoyed by this person doing this thing?
That's exactly right, I believe. And that's not to say that the person doing the thing is in the right, or that what they're doing isn't good. But, and I think that's really the point. That's the point of power or powerlessness, based on how you look at it.
You mean like
are you like, that's where you either claim your power or give it away.
Sure.
And like, I think politics is a great example. Not to get not to dive into that intentionally, but like,
20 minutes in, let's talk about politics.
No, like the point being, like, you can look at politics and be upset by it and say, oh, these things are happening, therefore I'm upset, and it's like the politics' fault. Versus, oh no, like, I'm upset because of the way I'm looking at the situation. Like, you're looking at it in a way that's making you upset. I'm not saying it's not terrible.
Sure.
Or weird, or however you want to think about that, but
it's victim mindset. It's like
are you going to let that control your state of being, or not?
Right.
That is your point of power, and I don't see how that could not be true.
Sure. Yeah. So you were learning, unfortunately, but the sad truth is that you were learning at a very young age that you were the problem.
Correct.
And you could not be your own self
without making others upset.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And to me, that's one of the sources of self-worth issues.
Sure.
There's this great book, if you're listening, check it out. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I think I told you about this when we met. He talks about it as there's really 4 of these. I'm gonna try to remember all 4, but essentially the first one is the self-worth one. And in the book, and before I even get that, he describes it as like, essentially he calls it a thermostat problem, where you have every person has an upper thermostat ceiling, where when you exceed that, you self-sabotage to bring yourself back to your previous state, because you literally can't on a nervous system level accept a new level of success and joy yet. So you bring yourself back down. That's why lottery winners usually their life crashes, because it's too much positive energy at once. Boom, they got to bring themselves back down. You see this with like celebrity people make a bunch of money. You see it like everywhere, all the time. I think it was Christian Bale. Hopefully this is. I'm pretty. Yeah, I think Gay Hendricks actually talked about this in the book. I believe it was Christian Bale, like at the premiere of like Batman, which is like best-selling movie, one of the best-selling movies ever. He's gets into like a terrible fight with his mother and his sister in the hotel room, and they're like having all these conflicts. Anyways, the idea is like on the precipice of new success and abundance and love and joy and money coming in, we self-sabotage. That's what he talks about in the book. But he says there's really like 4 causes of that. So there's self-worth. You think there's something fundamentally wrong with you. So that means more success is going to make more people, it's going to upset more people, basically, because there's something wrong with you. The second one is you are like afraid of being disloyal to your roots or your family, and so that means you're gonna like betray your family by being more successful. The third one is like you think you're a burden to somebody, and so if you become more successful, you're gonna be a bigger burden. And I'm forgetting the 4th one.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're listening, you can look up like the 4 hidden barriers from Gay Hendricks.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so he proposes that every issue that people have, it comes down to like these 4 buckets.
Yeah.
Hopefully I remember the 4th one, but yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll come to you if it's meant to come to you.
I think
in
it will
this episode.
Too. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
for me, it was really that first one. Like the whole disloyal thing, I didn't really have that. Like the abandoning a family. I didn't really have that one. For me, it was always like, oh, like I make other people upset with who I fundamentally am.
Yeah. Wow. And so you mentioned a lot of this is you and your dad. What was your relationship like with your mom?
Really good, actually. Yeah. I think there was still, like for me subjectively, I think there was still like a level of disconnect. Just because like, she was married to my dad, and like, I don't know. I like we had a great relationship, but I also still felt like there was something wrong with me that she didn't like too. But I don't feel like she ever really expressed that. It was more I think that was like in my own head. We had a great relationship, I would say.
Yeah.
It definitely was like grounding for me during those tough times.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about,
But like it's weird because like I felt like she was there for me. I think I had a lot of shame as well, especially as I like hit puberty and that type of thing. I think there was a level of disconnect from my mom because I had a lot of sexual shame just around. Yeah, I mean that's pretty. Can't really get more clear than that. And so I think because of that, I felt like a disconnect from my mom just as a child. But even that source of shame was from what was happening with my dad, I think. So
yeah,
there was definitely a level of disconnect that was pretty fundamental, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't sound. What was your relationship with like your sister? Like, did you have anyone where you truly felt safe and comfortable with?
No.
Wow.
I mean, well, that's not totally true. I think I had some friends. Like I that's actually probably what it was. Like I had a few friends. Like some buddies growing up. So that's actually not totally true. I spoke to them that, but yeah, like and also like I think even actually I did have some people like my cousins. Two of my cousins I would hang out with growing up. I always felt good around them, like going to their house, stuff like that. So yeah, I spoke too soon on that.
Yeah, that's all good. And so, was your sister at all dealing with similar stuff, or was it just do you know?
Yeah, in her own way.
Okay.
She absolutely was. I think she learned to handle it differently.
Yeah. Were you guys close?
We were. Yeah, I would say so. Like growing up, we definitely were.
Okay.
We're pretty different people, for sure. And like I think
How
we weren't as close growing up. I would say just like different interests, different temperaments, and so I think as we grew up, we grew apart a little bit, but still remained close. I would say. Yeah. No, we had a really great relationship. I think when I was really little, I was definitely kind of like the annoying little brother. I'd pester her, and I was kind of mean to her. I think when I was like really little, but even that was coming from just my pent up rage.
Yeah.
With what was happening with Dad.
Yeah.
And I know, and I knew I knew she did understand that eventually. I mean, when we were little, I don't think she did, but yeah, no, things were good. Things were good with her, pretty much always, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we had a mutual understanding that we were just in this tough situation, and that we didn't really like know what to do about it. It was almost kind of unspoken, and we would later in life come to talk about it more.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting that like you both knew, but it was unspoken. It was like felt.
Yeah. And I think we both really internalized it in that kind of like I was saying, in that bodily, like sympathetic state way.
Sure.
For sure. And
I can totally relate to the nervous system state stuff. So music was an outlet though. You found music. It's either between 9 and 11. You said different things on different pods. So somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
How did you
I don't have an
get
exact
into
answer of when it started, but I think my earliest memory is actually playing the recorder in I guess a lot of people have that, right? In 3rd grade.
Yep. Me too.
It was 3rd grade music class. And God, I remember just looking forward to music class more than anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just remember being really good at the recorder and like feeling a lot of good feelings around that, and like just looking forward to that class very much. 4th grade, then I picked up the clarinet because Squidward played it. I was like, I want to play it, and because I was like obsessed with SpongeBob at the time, and turned out I was pretty good at that too, or it felt subjectively like I was oddly good at it. And the teacher,
what did that feel like?
The teacher told me
okay.
I was good at it. Like she I think she told my mom that too. Like she's like, yeah, like your kid's different, or he's got talent, or he's like more talented than the other kids, or something like that. And she was like, yeah, you should like get him in private lessons or something, because he's got some natural talent here. Around the same time, I believe is when I started playing piano. I must have been like 8 or 9. I did piano lessons for maybe 2 or 3 years. I think I stopped piano lessons around middle school. It was like 2 or 3 years maybe I did them.
Okay.
And the reason I stopped was it was too regimented. But I loved the piano, but I just didn't like reading the music off the page so much. I wanted to I would like change it and kind of do my own thing and improvise and stuff like that. First song I wrote was when I was 10. That's like my earliest memory. It was at a piano recital. I still remember I was like the last performance in the recital, and they had a little like asterisk next to my name on the billing, and it was like original composition. I'm like, oh, look at me. Oh. No, I felt special. It was, but yeah, I like performed a song I wrote on the piano for the recital. Yeah, I was like 10 years old, or maybe 12, maybe 11, like oldest.
Do you remember what you were feeling? Because you mentioned your body a couple of times, like what you were feeling in your body when you were playing, whether it be the piano or clarinet or.
Yeah, I would just describe it just like a feeling of excitement and confidence, really, and joy. Yeah, just like electricity, dude. Just like flow, like just this feel good passion. Just flow. Just joy. Yeah.
And so were your parents supportive? Did they put you in private lessons?
So supportive, dude. Yeah. Very, very, very supportive. And like, that's something that I'm so grateful for. Absolutely fortunate about, is that they were very supportive. And they really pushed me in it too.
Yeah. How does that feel? Right? Because just a couple of years earlier, or maybe the same time, you're like questioning self-worth, and now here there's something you feel really good about, but they're meeting you with that like same level of support and maybe even excitement.
It felt good, and I think I was really too young to appreciate it. I was too young to really have the gratitude for it and to separate the negatives of what was happening from the positives of, the fact that we had the money for me to do private lessons. And I had parents who pushed me to do private lessons, parents who valued education, and therefore wanted me to enroll in those lessons and pay for those lessons. Lessons weren't cheap, and like we had the money for it, and that's such a blessing, and I would not be here today musically at all without those lessons. So it was a very interesting dichotomy that at the time I just wasn't able to separate. And I mean, even when I was like even when I was in 6th grade, 7th grade, I think I wasn't very disciplined with it, even though I was doing private lessons on clarinet and sax at the time, and I was playing in band at school. But yeah, they my mom pushed me. It's like, hey, like practice, like you gotta practice sax. I would just like want to play Minecraft. So yeah.
Do you remember why? Because you just mentioned that you were feeling a lot of energy and excitement around playing the instrument, but then at some point that kind of dwindled, and then Minecraft or something else took the space. Do you remember like feeling a drop off and like, I don't really want to do this anymore?
It wasn't a drop off, and like I feel like I still wanted to do it, but I feel like especially from like the sixth to 8th grade, right around the time when the fights were the worst, actually. Was when I really was just delving into Minecraft, and I got like super addicted to it. It's all I cared about. But at the same time, I was still like doing music. Like I was in the jazz band at school, I was in band at school, and I was doing well with that. Like I would like play solos, and I was doing really well with it actually. But at the same time, I was like just really deep in Minecraft. And that was like a huge addiction for me. It was like all I wanted to do. And I mean, my self-worth was tied to my performance in the game and like how good I was at the game.
Wow.
And I had a lot of anger around when it didn't go my way. So yeah.
Did you tie your self-worth to music as well, or mostly just Minecraft?
Yeah, I think so. I think so for a long time. I would say so, really, because it was like one of the only ways that I could feel good, and it was one of the only ways that I would feel safe. And so I would say I did, yeah, because I felt good about it, and I was good at it, and so it made me feel confident. And that's kind of a big part of my lore and like my story with the EDM project too, actually, because it was the thing that led me to the truth of life and who we really are and how life works, which is actually, that's what should be what makes us feel confident. But but without that, I don't think I would have gotten there, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Definitely more to dive into there. But
well, yeah, but you were a child, like brain's still very much developing. You're in what sounds like not the best household situation growing up. There's only so much you can do as a child.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when things got, the fights got the worst in the house, you turned to Minecraft to, like, I guess, and music, I guess, as an escape. Do you remember, like, how hard it got for you?
Yeah, definitely.
What was that like?
I would say,
and I'll make it, like, more pointed too, so it's not just like a trauma dump. I'm not looking for trauma. It's more just like, like, that sounded super hard. So, like, what was that like? And then how did that shape you during that time?
I think what it was like was I feel like I felt ungrounded, and I feel like I just felt disconnected from most people. I mean, I felt disconnected from my immediate family. Like I said, I always felt really connected to my cousins, though. Like, I grew up playing with my little cousins, all sorts of cousins. Like, my mom's side, my dad's side. That was, like, kind of the exact opposite, actually. I always felt really connected to them. I felt accepted around them, and I felt like they accepted me, actually, like, for who I was, too. And it wasn't, like, a conditional thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always, like, a really good source for me there. But yeah, it was really, really tough, dude. I just didn't feel good about myself and who I was. Felt really insecure. Felt suicidal at times. I felt like it just wasn't worth it. And I'm like, what's the point of all this? If I don't even feel safe around my family. And, like, I'm having these fights, and I'm the one who's getting blamed for it. We're going to family therapy, and I'm the reason we're in therapy, and I'm 11. It's like, I don't want to be here, dude. And, like, that, like, I'm getting emotional saying that now. And, like, I have so much love for that kid and, like, for that version of myself, and I wish I could just go give him a hug. And I can't. But it is to kind of to look at the silver lining. All that pain, I think, is what's made me so successful. Because when I did, finally go away from Minecraft, and, like, the fights did get better, mainly because I grew up, I would say. And I don't know. I mean, I think our family wanted to change so badly that also, like, it wasn't, like, just me growing up. I think, just things shifted in the house. And yeah, my sister and I got older, and so things got better. I think all that pain I just transmuted into the music the whole time. Even though, again, there were the video games, but I was just transmuting it, and to me, that's what the piano was. I would just, when I was home alone, parents were away, I would just improvise on the piano, just pour myself into these spur of the moment improvisational, like, symphonies, really. And then just play my heart out. And that was like, I was like Batman in the lair, bro. Like, that was like my training grounds. And I got so good at jazz piano, just, like, improvising, even just, like, not even just jazz, like classical piano, all sorts of just songwriting and playing and performing. And it sharpened me into one of the best musicians. I don't mean this to be, like, egotistical or anything like that. Like, I consider myself as very fortunate, and I didn't do this alone, but one of the best musicians I've ever seen. All that pain, just put it right into piano, like improvising piano, saxophone, writing music. I wrote a whole symphony when I was like 13. All the strings, trumpets, trombones, like everything, all the parts, just a whole symphony, like different movements and shit. It was like 10 minutes long.
Wow.
And it just came from this feeling of being lost and misunderstood. And, like, there was this thing that was wrong with me. I was being told was wrong with me, that it kept being told to me in so many ways, with all these fights, with all this evidence, because we're going to family therapy. Things are so bad at home. We're fighting. There's all this strife. I don't know what the fuck is going on. and yet I just transmuted it, and like it made me into a genius. And like I that word genius, like I think we all have that, really. That's something I believe, is we all have like our own genius. And I found mine through that, I would say.
Yeah.
And so that's how it shaped me.
I really appreciate you sharing that, because it's super raw, it's super vulnerable, and it's not easy to like relive those memories.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
And it's my hope that, you know, people listening might resonate with that.
Well, it's my mission to share this stuff, because I know I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
And the way that, sure, this is my experience, but I know there's someone listening who's like probably resonating with this, who's felt these types of things in their own life, in their own way, in their own subjective experience. I think I believe we all have stuff like this. I believe some of us have it worse than others, for sure, but it's all valid. Yeah, so I think it's important to share these things.
Totally.
Talk about it openly.
Yeah.
And also with the hindsight of like, there's no blame. Again, there's no blame here. I'm not like, I don't want to ever like blame my parents. And that's not the point of what I'm saying. That's not the framing of this. Like, I think a lot of my pain really was because of the way that I was thinking. But see, the thing is, as a child, you don't know how to think.
Right.
You learn to think. You're like a sponge as a kid, and you learn to think based on the thinking and the energy that's around you. And so I just didn't know any better.
Yeah. So music became an escape, and you got really good at it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you composed a symphony at 13. Like, it just became your thing. At that time, what was going through your head? Did you think you were just going to do this forever? Like, you just going to dive in? Like, what was the goal?
Yeah. I that's true. I think that the goal is just to keep playing and getting better. And, you know, in middle school, high school, they had like regional bands, like audition bands that you could audition to try to be a part of. And then if you were good enough and the judges like scored you high enough, you'd make the band. And then you basically go and rehearse all these songs for 3 days, and then put on a show for like all the parents of the kids, basically. So that was cool. And so I think it gave me something to work towards, and I was good at it, and I wanted to be good at it, and I wanted to win. You know, and I wanted to make the band, because not everyone gets to make it. You know, you have to be good enough. You have to have a high enough score to like pass the audition to make the band. So I think it gave me something to look forward to work on. And in music, you never stop growing, you never stop learning, you never stop working on it. So yeah, it gave me a real outlet. But I wasn't thinking like, I honestly wasn't even thinking like, oh, how am I going to do this for a career? I don't really know. I just wasn't thinking about it. There was really no thought of the future, I would say.
Yeah.
At that time, I was kind of just focused on like that, like music or video games, or trying to do well in school. And yeah, I mean, especially as I got into high school, I became very studious. And so I was just, you know, I just really focused on my studies and getting good grades, because again, that was something our parents really instilled in us too.
Yeah.
Was just studying, you know. It was important to me to like be in the level 1 classes and like take the APs, and, you know, just work my ass off in school. So I was very studious.
Yeah.
And then I also translated into the music practice as well.
Well, I'm guessing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was probably some self-worth stuff in there too. Your parents probably told you like, hey, you need to get good grades. So when you did get good grades, you like, felt good about yourself.
Yeah. When I got good grades, I definitely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they also weren't super harsh about it. If I like didn't get good grades, you know, they wouldn't be like berating me. But you know, they'd be like kind of politely pushing me, like, hey, like, you know, what's going on? What do you think happened? Like, how can we like make this better? I feel they were really, really good about that, actually.
And so at this point, EDM hasn't even entered the scene, right?
Correct.
Yeah. We're in high school, folks.
Yeah, this is like 15, 16.
Yeah.
I just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I never had a streaming subscription or anything like that, because I was in band. It's like I just played music. I never listened to it.
It's really interesting.
I really never like. My sister and my dad would play some records around the house growing up, but I really never listened to it. Like I was just in band or just playing the piano. Like that's it. Like I never listened to any of like the 2000s or like pop or rap or the 2010s. I just didn't listen to any of it.
It's so interesting because it's probably not most people's experience.
No.
Like,
and that's something else I learned. Like growing up, and we'd be at like the high school prom, or even the middle school dance. We're 12-year-olds, and all these kids are singing these songs. I'm like, dude, I've never heard these songs. Like I'm like everyone knew these lyrics. I'm like, am I the only one who doesn't know this? like what's going on here?
Band kids.
Yeah, literally, bro. Yeah, everyone be dancing with their chick. I'm like, bro, what are these lyrics? I use the word chick. I mean, dude, we were like 12, but
yeah.
You know what I mean. Like
totally.
Everyone be dancing with their people, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I don't get it, dude. I don't know what's going on here.
So you get Spotify at 18.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, and so some other context too. I started messing with GarageBand around. So this was something else that I was doing, kind of during this like 10s era of my life, from like 10 to 20. I had GarageBand on like my iPod Touch and like my iPhone first, and so that was also something that felt really good. Was making music in GarageBand. I had some pretty sick music in there, and like just crazy piano stuff and beats and things like that. And so my friends at the time knew me for that too. I was like, oh, like I had these sick GarageBand beats, and so that was something else I was messing around with at that time. So honestly, unknowingly, I kind of was getting into electronic music production.
Wait, sorry, what age was that?
Funny enough, I think I was actually pretty young when I started doing that. I would say 12, 13.
Okay. So it was like very...
So I actually kind of... There's an asterisk next to the EDM thing, because I actually kind of was getting into it around 12, 13, but it wasn't like... To me, that wasn't EDM production.
Right.
It was just like, it was like piano with some drums and some strings and like a bass.
Okay, that's interesting context. Like there was like a very subtle thread of production.
Yeah, and that's actually something. Yeah,
production.
I have to say that's something I feel like I've kind of left out, not intentionally, in telling my story.
Well, the whole story is coming out here.
It really is. Yeah. So, anyways,
Spotify 18.
Yeah. So 18. Yeah. So I finally got Spotify. Up till then, I had like Gangnam Style.
You and everybody else.
Like for fucking $1.29 on iTunes. Like I bought the song.
Of course.
Yeah, and then like I think this one.
It was 99 cents back then.
This one
probably
something like that, dude. And it was like this song by Train. This song by Train. I forget what it. Everything. I don't know. I just wanna stay in my bed. I don't know. Something like that. It was like a hit song.
Yeah.
At the time.
I feel like that might have been Bruno Mars. But whatever, I know exactly what you're talking
about. It wasn't Bruno Mars, but yeah, I messed up the lyrics, I think. But anyways, anyways. Whoa.
Hey, Soul Sister. Hey,
no, but it wasn't that song, but it was like something like similar vein of hit song.
I'm following.
And that was my groove, man. I just listened to that and Gangnam Style and repeat, like I don't know, like that was like I was like 13, like that was my shit. And at the same time, I'm in band, like playing piano, clarinet, sax, whatever. So 18, I got Spotify. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And honestly, it is interesting. I mean, the fact that we have these streaming platforms with all this music ever, I mean, it's not an old thing. It's very recent. Crazy. Absolutely crazy that it exists. So yeah, I got Spotify, and that was when I discovered AU5 and Tritonal and Seven Lions, Adventure Club, these types of artists. And so you see, before that, you got to remember I'm a composer, and I've been composing for like 8 years at that point. So to me, here's how you had to write music. You had to write notes on a staff, like a musical staff, notes on a page, and then you had to have, you would determine your instrumentation. You'd write those notes on a staff for the instrumentation, and then you'd need the instrumentation in person. So, like, let's say you're writing for a string quartet. okay, so you have 5 different parts, for the 2 violins, the viola, the cello, bass. You write all your parts, and then you need 2 violinists, a violist, a cellist, and a bass player to play your music.
Yeah.
That's how you write music, period. Well, also, and then there's also GarageBand, but
Right.
that's kind of like, that was my paradigm. So then I'm on Spotify, and I forget how, but I found, again, these artists like AU5, Seven Lions, Tritonal. I specifically remember this one song by AU5. I think he was on your podcast too.
Yeah, he
wasn't
was.
he?
What song was it? It might have been the same song that I brought up.
Only in a Dream.
Okay.
I think it's called. It was like an OG song of his. Maybe it was like 10 years ago that he dropped that. I'm now on Monster Cat or something like that.
He's been crushing it for a very long time.
Yeah.
Shout out, brother.
Yeah, dude. What's up, Ossien? If you're listening to this, but yeah. So I remember just, I mentioned like we have the lake house in New Hampshire, so it's like a 3-hour drive from Connecticut. I remember just being in the car on my headphones, just listening to this song by AU5, just being like taken aback. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what the heck is this, dude? This ain't no viola. This ain't no violin, clarinet, piano. Shattered my paradigm forever.
Wow.
I'm like, how do you make these sounds? I'm like, that's not this discrete instrument that you need an instrumentalist to play. This is like something totally different. And still not and definitely not even GarageBand, like still like totally different. And so that was when I started, again, so I'm 18. That was the year I graduated, and that was when I went to graduate high school, went to college for the first time. And that was when I got into EDM. And so then freshman year of college, Georgia Tech was awesome because they had a bunch of really sick EDM shows like on campus,
Wow.
at frats.
So it was largely melodic dubstep? Because the names you mentioned were all melodic dubstep.
Potentially, or partially, but also like tritonal, like big room, like Cash, for example, big room.
Got it.
Big room up, like 4 to the floor, progressive house was my jam, dude. I was super into that stuff as well. And yeah, so freshman in college, and I'm partying and stuff, and they had all these genuinely sick raves on campus. Full production, lights, lasers, everything. Just during like wet weekend, which is like after frat rush, everyone would be sober during rush, and then you join your frat, and then that first weekend, the liquor would come back, and everyone would just party like crazy, especially at a school at Georgia Tech, which is where I went. And yeah, dude, there was just all these amazing shows on campus. Like, they really were fantastic shows. The production, the lights, the sound, it was just insane. And so, we'd get drunk and go to these shows, and I'd just be dancing my life away. Like, it was so fun. It was just awesome. But even then, it was still like that first semester where I was just a raver. Like, it was not till the second semester of college that I actually had the idea that, it wasn't just an idea. It was a realization, really, that like, oh wait, I could do this.
You were a little stoned, yeah?
It was, yeah. I don't do weed anymore. It's just I just don't do it. It's not for me, and I did it. I overdid it, kind of relating to the trauma and like the self-worth stuff is kind of why. But no big deal. Is what it is. That was a chapter of my life. Yes, I was a little stoned, and it was like you did your research, dude. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I told you about that, but good memory.
No, you said it in an episode.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, dude, good memory. That's awesome. Well, anyway, appreciate that. Anyway, yeah. So I remember like I'd be walking around campus with my AirPods in, and Kashmir, that was another artist that I was into. Just like this big room was my jam, dude. I'd be walking around just listening to Big Room, like even like Tiesto and some AU5, some Seven Lions, all these artists, and just feel like I was a man, dude. Just walking around campus, just like and I was the man, we all are. It's like I'm not like, oh, look at me, like, but like also look at me, but also like I'm walking around campus. I'm a freshman in college, first time, and I'm out there living my life, and it's like a new chapter, and I'm like feeling good, and you know, I was kind of ready to leave Connecticut and, you know, leave some people that I felt like were in surfing behind, make new relationships, make new friends, and just start new. And, you know, I was feeling good just walking around and just bumping EDM, dude. And I just loved it and felt like the man. I'm like going to class, you know, Georgia Tech's a great school. Like I got in, it's like where I wanted to go. Feeling good, you know, just bumping music. But yeah, so that's like, that was first semester. Second semester, it's literally a rainy Tuesday day. I'm, you know, super stoned in my bed. I forget. It just, the best ideas just come to you. That's something I live by. Something I believe is that, you know, inspiration, intuition, all these, it just comes to you. And it just came to me on this random day, second semester as a freshman at Tech. I'm like, dude, there's people making electronic music on their computers. And then they're getting paid to DJ the music that they made on their computers. And they're playing these insane shows, and they're touring the world, and they're making a buttload of money doing it. And I'm like, I could do this. And not only could I do this, but I like want to do this. I want to get into this. I want to learn about this. I'm curious about this. That was like February 2019, so just over 7 years ago. And so, yeah, again, at the time, I mean, I was in the jazz band at Tech as well. I made the jazz band. I played tenor sax. And so again, I'm still musically involved on like the band side, and I'm still playing piano a lot. You know, playing sax a little less, but playing in the jazz band, and wasn't really writing music anymore. At least like on a page. I was still improvising piano like all the time. That was something I just loved it so much. But I was like, I kind of want to get into this. So that summer 2019 was when I started DJing. I was like, okay, you know, I did my research. I got a tractor board. I started with a tractor. That's what it was called. Got a board, had my laptop, and I just, you know, I downloaded like all my favorite artist tracks. You know, I ripped them off YouTube. Like one of my frat bros who was a DJ kind of showed me how to do that. So like ripped a bunch of tracks, and I just started DJing, and I loved it, dude. I loved it. It was a new avenue for my music, and it was a new avenue for my creativity. I became really obsessed with it, and
just DJing at this point.
Just
not
DJing.
Okay.
So what I actually started doing was I made mashups. So the first release I have on SoundCloud was I did like a mashup album, but I would make the mashups only with the DJ board. I didn't know anything about like stemming tracks out or Ableton or FL. I didn't know anything about that. I was literally just making mashups on the DJ board, and then I would like record them. And those are like kind of the first things I put on SoundCloud. And so I got into DJing, and I'm like, I feel like I'm good at this. I feel like I have a good ear for this. And so then one of my boys, Arjun, he was in a different frat. Other context. I was in a frat freshman year, and we got kicked off campus for hazing, and that's its own whole crazy thing. But anyway, so like I wasn't in that frat anymore, but that was kind of, again, that's how I got into like EDM, and because we listened to all EDM and go to the parties and stuff. But then sophomore year in the fall is when I got my first ever DJ gig. I got booked to DJ at the Kappa Sig fraternity on Wet Weekend Friday. Again, the Wet Weekend is the first weekend that the alcohol comes back after Rush. So this is like the most lit weekend in the entire semester, basically. And it was a Friday. I'm at Kappa Sig, and yeah, dude, it was my first gig. I brought my board, brought my computer, and I just remember crushing it, dude. Like it couldn't have gone better. Like everyone's dancing, my homies are in the booth. I just felt like on top of the world, and you know they're just giving me unlimited beers full. I'm just drinking beer, like just doing my thing, dude. I was in my element. I'd never felt like that. Well, actually, I never quite felt like that.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? How did it differ from you sitting at the piano and riffing?
So it's the performance aspect. I would say I felt like that. I felt like that similarly, like playing in jazz band, standing up to take a solo, or like, you know, performing at the piano recital. But this was different, dude. It was different. I was like, you know, they're all here enjoying the music that I'm playing in this instant right now. Clearly, just everyone's having the time of their life because of the music that I'm playing, and it just unlocked something for me. And I'm like, this is what I'm not only wanting to do, and they paid me for it too that night. And so I'm like, not only do I want to do this, but this is what I'm meant to do. I just knew it.
Wow.
So then after that night, walking around campus again, listening to all those jams, feeling like now I started to see myself DJing the music that I was listening to. I would put on, there's this one Kashmir song, super crazy, like big room craziness that I would just put on, walk around campus, and I started to see myself DJing the EDM at these huge shows that I was listening to.
I want to pause you there because I want to like better understand the distinction between, you know, you performing, you know, saxophone or piano or whatever it was versus you being a DJ, because you did perform, correct? Prior.
Many times.
Yeah. So was it just like the crowd response, like being a part of like creating that energy that felt different to you when you were behind the decks?
It's a really, really good question. I think it was something about that. I think it's something about the medium of DJing as well. Because the thing about DJing is for me at least at that time, it was very improvisational. You know, I didn't really plan my set beforehand. All I knew was roughly what music I was going to play, the songs that I had on my playlist, which at the time, you know, I was really good at just, you know, playing bangers, like hip hop bangers and throwbacks and all that stuff. You know, I'd done my research. I know what people liked and what they got down to. And so it was very, very improvisational. And so that's why I didn't like the piano lessons, because I was too locked into reading the music, but I always liked to make my own music. So DJing let me make my own music
live,
even though I didn't make the music yet.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I was making art. I was improvising.
Right.
Again.
Right.
It's like I was at the piano again, but now I was like, I'm now, instead of being at the piano, I'm playing all these songs that people know, but I'm mixing them in this way that it's spur of the moment, just like the piano the whole time.
But isn't like jazz also like that? I don't know much about jazz, but is it?
It absolutely is.
So
yeah.
it felt, but it still felt different than like jazz.
It did. I think what's cool, and I think what was cool about it was that I was limited by the fact that I wasn't making the music yet. It was I was DJing songs, and so it's like there are limits to how you can do that, but also there's like no limits at the same time. Like there's rules, but there's not limits. Let's maybe put it that way.
Okay.
So that's also why I loved it, and also I have perfect pitch. So that made me a really good DJ, because I could just hear if two songs were gonna mix. I still can. You know, I wouldn't need to check. I would just know if they're gonna mix well, because I can just hear what key they're in and what notes are therefore in the scales and whatnot, and whether or not they're gonna work.
And so there were still some limitations in jazz. So this felt like much more liberating, free.
I think it just had a different audience too.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. I felt like it was just like such a good match for that, you know, my energy, you know, thinking back to when I was a little kid, right? Like it's just a very energetic thing. You're DJing and you're dancing, and it's like this, you know, you're having fun, and it just really resonated with me, and I was damn good at it too. Like I was really good at it. The song selection was on point. The transitions were on point. I just had a natural intuition with it that felt really good. And I mean, dude, people would come up to me like, "Yo, dude, like you're the best DJ I've ever seen." Like a lot of people would say that to me, and I don't say that to brag, but it was more just like, "Whoa, really? Like you think that about me? Like I brought that experience to you so much that you had such a good time that you felt the need to say that to me, and now you're not the only one saying that to me independently." It really just blew my mind. I mean, I was honored, really. Like I was like, "Damn, like I am good at this, and clearly it's something I'm meant to do." Because it's important to others and it's helping others, and they're having a great time because of my skill.
Yeah.
And it just made sense.
Sure.
It just made sense that I was going to pursue it. And so around that same time, late 2019, second semester, or first semester of second year of college, I'm a sophomore at that point, was when I got FL Studio. And I started producing. I'm like, okay, how do I make this stuff?
What was that like?
It was a new frontier, man. I was really bad at it for a really long time. But also I knew I was like, I knew I had an ear for it, and I knew I was like gonna be good. But yeah, dude, I didn't know what I was doing, really.
Sure.
And all I knew, it was like GarageBand, but it was more complicated, and there was just like way more going on, and there was just I knew there was just so much I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of started to try to just make big room in house, and that's really what I made for about 3 years. It was pretty much exclusively that, except for, you know, I made a few dubstep tracks, a few like mid-tempo tracks too, but mainly was like the big room stuff, the tech house type of stuff.
Got it.
On FL Studio for about 3 years there.
And that was just like, well, did you have, so you mentioned as a child, you were just like constantly behind the piano playing, just like in all your free time, your parents were gone, you were doing that. Did you have a similar level of energy or dedication to making, you know, EDM or
always
house? What did that look like?
I always did. Yeah, I think it looked like just realizing that was what I needed to be doing now, and like that was going to be the predominant focus, and like, because I mean I saw a real career path with it now.
Okay, so that was the goal.
That was the
goal. See a career.
That was the vision. That was the desire. That was the knowing that I was like, this is what I need to be doing, and I need to get good at this like as soon as I can. Because even when I was 18, graduating, you know, I was like, maybe I'll be like a jazz pianist and play in restaurants or something. Like, I don't know. And, you know, my parents pushed me into engineering, into computer science. That's what I majored in, computer science at Tech, which I'm glad they did. In the end, I'm glad they did. I don't know what else I would have done in that time and what I could have done to even make, you know, money and whatnot. So I'm glad I took the route that I took, without a doubt. Very grateful. Yeah, gosh, what was I saying?
So you were dedicated to production.
Yes.
Throughout those, you know, you started in sophomore year, and those next 3 years were just like, I want to make this a career.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want to do, and I'm going to work really hard at it.
Yeah, and I started making music, finishing songs, and yeah, you know, showing my songs to my friends, and they, you know, they would like it. It seemed like, and I think I started to get such a rush from it,
right?
Especially as I got better and better, and I started to be able to channel my creativity that I'd already been cultivating for so long at that point. I mean, really 10 years into EDM productions, and I would just be like almost taken aback by the things that I was able to make. Even though I knew I knew it wasn't there yet in terms of the quality, but like I knew it was good, and like I was onto something for sure.
Yeah.
Just like by the way I was feeling listening to it.
Yeah.
And so I just kept going. Just kept going.
What did that look like? How much time were you dedicating? Because like, spoiler alert, you didn't graduate and immediately like jump into EDM. You know, you had the whole software engineering thing. So it's like, yeah. So
I did what I could, you know, and you know, second semester of sophomore year again, I got booked again at the same frat, played another show, and this one was bigger, and it went even better. And I'm like, holy shit, like I could be playing these big parties on campus soon. And then COVID hit. And I was like, crap, like I was getting paid to DJ these shows. I was building some momentum, and now there's no more shows.
Yeah.
And so that was when I really started diving into the production. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to focus on my studies and getting this degree so I can, you know, get my job and set myself up to pursue music. At that point, it was just crystal clear. I'm like, all right, we're going to finish this degree. We're going to finish it, period. That's not negotiable. We're going to finish it. We're going to do it right. And then we're going to keep pursuing music at the same time. And so that's what I did. I made music. I pursued my studies and lived my life, hung out with my friends. We went out and stuff, and I made music as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really doing content yet at the time.
Right.
Well, and I knew that was something I needed to do, but I just didn't really know how to do it. And I kind of I really just had like a personal Instagram profile at that point.
Yeah. So you graduate, you get a job, 3.8, yeah?
Yeah.
Smart guy.
I think it was a 373 to be really precise. So a little
I'm glad
lower.
we're getting the actual detail. 373, hold me to it, folks. Don't let them round up to a 3.8. It's not.
Yeah. So I might smudge that a little bit.
You get a job, software engineering job.
Yes.
But then you also transition to start making bass music at the same time?
Yeah. So I'm producing from like 2019 and 2023. It was mainly house. It's so funny. I went to this festival called Imagine Music Festival in Atlanta in Georgia. So that's another thing that happened. I went to Music Midtown. It was like a big festival in Atlanta, and like it just changed my life forever. And I knew that like I wanted to play festivals. I mean, I pretty much was what I already knew. That's it. That's not really like that important story, but what is important is I went to Imagine, which was an EDM festival, 2022, and actually I also went in 2019, and that was when I got to see like Kashmir and Alice in Wonderland and like Zed's Dead. And I saw all these. I actually got to see it for the first. Actually, not the first time. I was going to raves at that point, like guys like Cash and these kind of big room kind of acts would come through Atlanta a lot. And so we'd go to see those, and it was like $20 tickets. We could walk there from campus, and so we'd go to those shows like all the time. But yeah, I went to Imagine Music Festival once in 2019, again in 2022, and in 2022, and this is kind of funny saying now, I was like I think it was like Dom Dalla, and little drunk at the set, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm gonna be a tech house artist. I was like, it was a big awakening. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna make this groovy, jazzy tech house, and that's gonna be my thing, dude. No, it's not. It's not what ended up happening at all. But again, because that's what I had been making.
Wait, but
pretty
hold
much
on.
exclusively.
That sounded like it was a download of some sorts. Like you said, like the best ideas come in random situations.
Yeah,
and times.
so it's funny because I actually think I'm gonna come back to it.
Okay.
House, I actually did come back to it recently, and I made some pretty sick house, but I think I'm gonna come back to it. I just honestly, it wasn't like, it's weird because then I was like, I ended up transitioning to Ableton. Like early 2023, I did a mentorship program called Cosmic Academy. If you're an artist listening to this, go do their program. They're amazing. I have my own program now. Do that too, but do both. But we'll talk about that. But Cosmic. So I did Cosmic early 2023, and because the thing is, I was still making dubstep, but I was like mainly making house when I did their program. And I think what I realized is like I actually just liked making dubstep the most. Like it got to the point where I'm like, I'm just like I had that awakening and whatever, but it got to the point where I'm like, I actually like making dubstep more than I like making house. I like making the mid-tempo stuff more than I like making house. So about early 2023, around the time I did Cosmic's program, was when I started to transition to bass music and dubstep. But also they taught their program in Ableton, and I'm like, wait, I'm like, crap, like I think I should probably try this DAW. And then I tried it, I'm like, crap, this is way better than FL Studio. And so then I committed to making the switch. And then kind of as I made that switch, I started really diving more into bass music specifically.
Okay, interesting. So it was largely from this academy or this course.
Exactly. Yeah, and then around the same time, so this was like May 2023. Actually, Gorilla T had followed me on Instagram because I had a small following too, and he had maybe like, he was small at the time too. He had like maybe 20K followers. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This guy was like a little bigger than me, has a good following. He followed me, and I checked him out. I was like, oh, I like what this guy's doing. He seems really cool. Like I love his content, his music, and I forget how we got connected, but I ended up taking a few private lessons from him. And yeah, he taught me a lot just about like bass, making basses and like doing compression the right way and like mixing well. And yeah, I owe a lot to him. Like I learned a ton from those lessons. Did like 2 lessons with him, and that was before he really grew in his career, like got bigger.
Shout out.
So he was still doing like a lot of lessons, but at the time. But yeah, so especially when I did those lessons with him, and I heard what he was making, because his stuff was already sounding really polished at that point. I'm like, this is really inspiring to me. This is like kind of really what I want to be making too. And something about the intensity of bass music was just really riveting to me in a way that house just didn't. In a way that house just lacked. To put it bluntly, like house just didn't excite me anymore. Although I was still DJing it a lot. When I played, because at the time I would be, COVID kind of worn off a little bit, and I was DJing again in like some local clubs around Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I would play hip hop, trap, and then I would also play house like later into the night.
Sure.
So I was still DJing house. I was DJing a lot. I also started DJing like sorority events and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I was making good money doing it actually at that point. Not a living, but good money. And in terms of my productions, though, I was like, yeah, bass music is what I'm starting to really resonate with. And yeah, at the same time, I did Cosmic's program around that time, early 2023.
And so what was the first turning point? Because your sound's really unique. You're infusing jazz and saxophone into your music. It was funny, that clip, like jazz step. As the kids are calling it. Wooly had that clip, and then you responded to it. Because you are the one person that is actually infusing jazz and dubs. Like, when was the first turning point in your, career, your Ossien career, where it was like, okay, I actually get it now. Like, I see what's going on.
2022 was when I graduated tech, and then I started working full time at NCR. July 2022. Still producing music, still DJing, the whole thing. But yeah, focused on the full-time career now, and kind of got my ducks in a row. Got my own place. Things were good. Weren't great, but they were good.
Yeah.
I had my life together, had a good job. Had my degree, was making money. Had time to pursue my music, and that was 4 years ago. So yeah, it was I was still producing an FL at that point in 2022. It wasn't again until early 2023 rather that I did Cosmic Academy's program. Decided Ableton. I was like, okay, I need to be in Ableton. Got Ableton. At the same time, started shifting towards dubstep. Now around that time, this was just over 3 years ago now, which is actually so crazy to even think about how much I've made in 3 years. But music wise, also money, but that's not what I meant. Oh man. So around that time I was like, why I was like, dude, why has no one like put jazz into this music? Because I just loved jazz, bro. Like jazz was my stuff. I played it, I knew it, I understood it. I was in the jazz band. I had been for 10 years at, first elementary, then middle school, then high school, then college. I'm like, it's genuinely great music. Why has no one done it in dubstep or in bass music? Or at least to my knowledge, no one had really done it. I hadn't discovered Grizz yet per se, but even he like doesn't really do jazz. Like no one was doing like jazz, like big band jazz. No one was really doing that. So I'm like, why not? Like it's a good idea. It would sound really cool. Well, the answer to that question is it's hard. it's hard to do in a way that makes sense, and that was, it was one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I got when I did Cosmic's program, and they taught me a lot. Great program, again. Do it if you're listening to this. But one of the biggest things they taught me was that my songwriting needed a lot of work. I thought it was like my sound design and my mixes that were lacking, but I was actually, they said I was using too many sounds. There's no motif in the music. There's no, like, the songwriting isn't there. Like there's too much happening. And then also around the same time, I'm like starting to put together jazz and EDM. It was about the same time when I did the lessons with Gorilla T, as well. And I was showing him my stuff. I'm like, yeah, I want to like do like big band. And he loved the idea. And I was starting to experiment with like putting all that together. So that was kind of how I got started in it, dude. And yeah, when I first did it, I was I was recording all the saxes myself. That's kind of how I did it. I found like some jazzy drum samples, get like a little EDM kick and snare in there, a little bass line, put it all together, a whole 9 yards. And that was how I started to put it together. And then from the songwriting perspective, that was when it started to come together. About 3 years ago. It wasn't like there yet.
Yeah.
Now it's like there, but it was starting to come together.
So when you first started to put it together, was there like this moment of like, yes? Like,
yeah. And there were multiple moments. I don't think it was like one. It was more of just like a slow but sure certainty that started to build of like, okay, this is my process. This is how I'm approaching like putting a song together, and how specifically I'm putting the jazz and the EDM together. And here's why it makes sense from a songwriting perspective.
Yeah.
And I really had that aha moment of like, oh crap, like I just need a motif. And then I just needed that motif to repeat.
So what is motif for me and the people that don't know?
Absolutely. So a motif is this is how I describe it to my clients. Motif is it's a short, memorable idea in an artistic composition. In this case, music. It's short is key, because if it's not short, you're not going to remember it. It's not going to be impressible if it's too long, because our brain isn't going to remember all that. Basically, is the way I think of it. So, yeah, that's what a motif is. It's a core idea of a artistic composition, and again, in this case, music. So in this case, a musical motif is a short succession of notes that leaves an imprint on your brain that you remember, that you are gonna think about. For example, da 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 da. That's a motif.
I got it.
My song "Syncopation Station," ba ba da ba ba.
Yeah,
that's a motif. Not a I wouldn't say that's a melody. A melody, then you build off a motif.
Sure.
The melody would be ba ba da ba ba da 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 ba ba da 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 da. That's the melody, but the motif is ba ba da ba ba. That's the motif. Motifs are simple. They're short. They're core. They're clear.
Okay.
Yeah. Subtronics. Eyes cup deeper. Deeper. My eyes cup. Ba 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 ba. Yeah. Short. That's a motif.
Got it. All right. That's helpful.
Yeah.
And I liked hearing it.
Yeah. So many examples. Ray Volpe. Ba da 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 da. Something I learned from Nostalgics is like a good motif is something that someone with zero musical knowledge can sing with 5-year-old vocal syllables. Ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
If you can sing it like that, it's a good motif.
It's really interesting.
Very.
I haven't heard this before.
Yeah.
Learning so much today.
I'm glad, dude. Me too.
Heck yeah. Okay, so you're starting to develop your sound. It's feeling really good to you. It's new. It's giving you energy. Yep. But there's still the job.
Yes.
That's really draining your energy, right?
Yes. And at the time, it hadn't reached like the peak of draining my energy, but yes, it was draining my energy. But also, it was providing me with the foundation and the stability that I needed at that time to pursue music, and more importantly, to get my life together, to get myself together. Because at the time, I had a lot of negative beliefs about life, about men, about women, and about everything that I still was that were still influencing me in the way that I think. Or that I was thinking at the time, and in my friend group at the time, and there was some strife there too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can get into like the friend stuff if you want.
Yeah.
But I guess first, like with the job, you took a job in software engineering. Did you know instantly that it wasn't a good fit? Or did that develop over time?
Right. No, I didn't. And I actually felt really good about the job at first. It felt like a good fit at first, and I think genuinely it was a good fit at first. I think things also shifted at the company, and that's also what really led to what happening. That's also really what led to what happened with me and the position and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the first year is pretty great, and I was just like, it was a lot of learning, I mean, there wasn't like a ton of direct training from the company itself, but my teammates were just absolutely the sweetest, kindest people, and they taught me, they brought me on, they trained me on the specific projects that we were working on and stuff like that. And so, no, at the beginning I didn't know that it wasn't a fit.
Sure. So then when did things start to turn?
Yeah, I would say it took maybe a year.
Because spoiler alert, you're not there now.
No. We're going to get to that too.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we're going to get to that too. But, so yeah, I did work there at that company for 2 years, all in all. But yeah, we'll get there. I think things took a turn. So I would say right when the company split. So, it's a really great company, actually, NCR. If you've ever used self-checkout, you've used their stuff. Super cool company. They do great stuff. They had an amazing corporate office, like right in Atlanta. Dude, it was awesome. I mean, I felt like the man pulling up to the office, dude. Like it was a brand new office, spanking. It was beautiful. It was a genuinely beautiful office. I was very fortunate to be there. It was just awesome. I really did like going to the office for that first kind of year or two. I think it was late 2023. They decided to split companies and become two different companies. And so now they have like one that's more software oriented, and they have one that's more hardware oriented, because they have their ATMs, but then they also have like their software stuff. Because I mean, they it's National Cash Registry. Like they started as like more of a hardware company when you think about it, but then they split up. So that company split happened. It was the end of 2023, and then I think that I believe is what led to. Because like up till that point, in my subjective opinion, like our team was crushing it, and things were going well. I was doing well. I wasn't progressing like super fast, but I was like making good progress. I was learning. I was getting stuff done. I was contributing, bringing good energy to the team, at least. And just I had a good attitude. I showed up on time. I was well dressed and I did my job to the best of my ability. I asked for help when I needed it, and they helped me. And again, I'll always speak completely positively about every single person that was on my team that I worked with. Man, they're amazing people, good people. But yeah, so yeah, so end of 2023, I think that was when the company split, and at that point, I think that was when things started to come down the ladder a little bit, which then put more pressure on our team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And
so that was kind of when things started to hit the fan a little. So, we would have performance reviews. I forget exactly the period of timing, but essentially I learned from my manager that I wasn't doing so hot, probably around the late 2023. And like, I kind of knew that to be true. I definitely could have worked harder at the job. I wasn't doing the bare minimum either. But I also just wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't like super motivated to do it. I didn't love the work at that point. It was a job.
Yeah.
And, it was difficult for me, because I will also say, a lot of the skills needed for that job, I didn't learn in school. I would say like now I will say this. I learned, Georgia Tech taught me how to think. Well, it taught me how to think in a certain way. And so that certain way was certainly helpful, but a lot of the skills that I needed, I just didn't have. Because I just didn't learn those skills in school, which was kind of weird to me because I'm like, how do I not know these skills, and how am I supposed to learn these on my own time, on top of the work that I'm already doing at school, which is a lot of work. Like I said, it was very rigorous. And so I lacked a lot of the skills. And so I had to learn as I was on the job. And so it was an uphill battle most of the time. And, you know, I felt like I was the little guy on the team, and I was. I lacked the experience. I lacked the knowledge because I was never taught how to do it. And, you know, my teammates, again, bless their souls, they did what they could to bring me up to speed. But I feel there was never any like real training. It was kind of more onboarding and then ongoing assistance as needed rather than actual training. And the training I feel like should have happened when I was at school, which there was training. It just wasn't the right training for the job that I had.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was an uphill battle. And so, yeah, you know, end of 2023 doing performance review and whatnot, like my manager told me like, hey, you know, you're typically people in your position are a little farther ahead at this point in terms of like their deliverables, in terms of their trajectory to become a software engineer 2. I was a software engineer 1 at the time. And it stung. It stung a little bit, dude, because I was working hard. Like, I could have done more, absolutely. But, you know, I showed up on time. I had a good attitude. I really was trying. That's not to say I wasn't at the office at times, you know, maybe being on my phone, scrolling social media, you know, not doing what I should have been doing at times. But, like, for the most part, I forthrightly and honestly did my job. And it wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. I just wasn't, dude.
Yeah.
And it stung. But, you know, my manager wanted to help, and he really wanted the best for me. And he's like, hey, like, you know, we'll just keep, you know, let's keep working on it. We'll keep having our meetings, and you'll see how it goes. And so then April comes around of 2024. And I think at this point, I don't really know to this day, but I think there was a lot of pressure from up above, because after this company split, a lot of things changed, and like there was a lot of things we had to implement, and things were just shifting a lot at that company. Things were really shifting a lot. And I think that it felt subjectively like there was a lot more pressure on the team, on our team, to perform and to like do what we needed to do. And so, yeah, man, I'll never forget it. It was April 1st. I had like my biweekly manager meeting, and he pulled me in, and to be honest, I was expecting to like get a raise, dude. Just from the mere fact that I'd been there for almost 2 years, and I felt that, you know, again, I was trying. Maybe I wasn't like that good, but I was trying. I showed up on time. I had a good attitude, and I was forthright. I was honest, and I was trying to learn, do my best. And he sat me down. He's like, "Hey, we're putting you on a performance improvement plan, and here's what it's going to look like, and here's what we need you to get done, and it's a 3-month plan, and if you don't get these things done, I really can't guarantee that you're going to keep your job here." And I'm like, well, that stings a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine coming in thinking you're going to get a raise and to be like, actually, you either need to grow or you're gone, basically.
Yeah. Now, before we go deeper into that, some previous context. So about 1 year ago, I was feeling pretty fed up with the job. It was like January of 2023. Again, that conversation.
Or a year prior.
Yes, year prior, over a year prior. The conversation about the performance improvement plan was April 2024. January 2023. I'm fed up at work one day. Come home and I'm just like, dude, like, I've had it. Like, I want to work for myself. I want to do music, but I don't know how. I Google like how to make money online, and I wind up on Upwork. It's like Fiverr. And I wind up finding this course that this guy, Adam Horowitz, was selling. this thing called Course Builder, and I'm like, something about it just caught my eye, Jacob. I'm like, I just felt this twinge of positive emotion. I'm like, like this is interesting. You know, they say seek and you shall find, right? Like I found something, and I'm like, this is interesting. So I check it out, and this guy is. I see this VSL. For if you don't know what that is, it's a video sales letter. It's a video of a dude who's about to tell you something on the internet. On the internet, basically. I see this dude Adam, and he's in like this villa in like France or something. Like there's just like all these like palm trees behind him, and it's just like, bro, it's just like clearly living it up. And he's like, hey, like we will help you build a course. He like talks about like the utility of a course first of all. And the fact that you can build one if you have an expertise in something, and then you could sell it to people and make a lot of money doing it. And he's like, hey, buy my course, buy this course. It's $300, and it's a 6-week program, and follow the program. And by the end of the 6 weeks, you're going to have a profitable business. And if you don't, we'll refund you. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. What do I have to lose? $300?
Yeah.
So I bought it, and I'm like, all right, you know what? Screw it, dude. Like I looked up how to make money online. I found this course. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna just see how it goes. Now, keep in mind, this was about 2 months before Cosmic Academy.
Okay.
So I'm dropping a bag on Cosmic's program, worth every penny. But I'm driving a bag on a program. I'm about to go through their program, and we're gonna come back to the performance improvement plan thing. But I'm dropping a bag in their program. That's starting in March. So it's January of 2023. Right. And I am like, okay, I'm about to go through this EDM artist mentorship program. And keep in mind, they basically had me sign a non-compete. They're like, this is a program for artists. You are not allowed to, it basically said you are not allowed to be a teacher if you go through this program, which honestly, I think that's kind of stupid. But whatever. It was honestly, it was a formality.
Sure.
It was a formality more than anything. And so they're like, yeah, if you're going to go through this program, like you're an artist, you can't teach like what we're teaching you. You can't record the calls and everything. Okay. So it's January. I find this guy's course, and I'm like, all right, you know what? 6 weeks, profitable business. Sounds too good to be true, but you know what, dude? I'm no stranger to the work. I'm in. Let's try it.
Yeah.
And so I do it, and sure enough, I mean, it's a real thing. It's a great course. I go through it. I follow the steps, and it's a lot of work. I mean, I must have put 3-4 hours a day on it, and this is after my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I'm grinding on it. So week 1, it was like, you know, defining what your course is going to be all about. So I wrote an entire curriculum on like music production. I'm like, okay, like what? I'm like, what is my expertise? And their whole thing was like, all right, like identify your expertise, and I identify who would like want to learn from you, and like kind of like what their pains are, and like what they're trying to learn, and why they might buy something from you. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. So let me do that. And it was a lot of work, dude. I was busting my ass going through the course, following the steps. I'm like, all right, like I bought it, like we're gonna do it right. I wrote an entire curriculum. I wrote out like all my experiences, even with like, you know, my life and the piano and like all these things that I'm telling you. I wrote it all out, and I'm like, I just put it all on paper. I'm like, okay, like here's what I have to offer. Here's what I could teach somebody. Put it all on the table. And that's kind of what the first couple weeks of the course are about. And then week 3, they were like, okay, and now it's, you know, you got to post content. So you're going to build your brand. You're going to post content for a week. I think actually that might have been week 2. It was like post content, build a brand on Instagram. So I started posting, I posted some education videos for that week, following the course. I'm like, oh, here's how you like, cause again, you know, I'm a good producer at this point. Still learning, still in FL Studio, still not like where I wanted to be, but I was good to the point. And again, I had the musical acumen as well. So I was like, I knew I could, with my current acuity, I could teach somebody this stuff.
Sure.
I could teach somebody something that would be valuable to them, even if I'm not where I want to be. And I just had that belief, and I had that confidence. And so I went through with it. Oh my gosh, course.
Week 2.
Yeah, thank you. So, yes. So yeah, I post content. So then week 3, this was like by far the most rigorous one. They're like, okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to go find like 20 pages on Instagram in your niche. And then, like, for example, like EDM tips, or like Ableton Live tips, FL tips.
Mm-hmm.
And then for 7 days, every single day, you're going to go into the comments of the pages, and you're going to DM 50 people who've commented on these pages every single day, and just start a conversation with them and ask them what problems they're having. And I'm like, fuck. Okay. And I did it. Every single one. I DM'd 50 people a day. It was just like, oh my God, dude, like, this is brutal.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. And they gave me a rough, like, script to follow in terms of how to, like, have a conversation. And they're like, your goal is to get this person on a call and like, sell them your course. And their whole thing was like, you got to sell before you build, talk to the audience, know what their needs are before you build anything, so that you build something people actually want and need. Yeah. And I'm like, that's great advice. Like, that makes a lot of sense. I'm learning a lot right now. Wow. This is a great course. And so I will never forget it, man. We're 350 DMs in. Pretty much no one answered me. Maybe 10, 20 people answered me, and even 90% of them ghosted me. I had one guy who loved what I was doing, who was down to get on a call with me. And so we got on a Zoom call. And even before the Zoom call, I'm like, dude, like, I'm working my butt off. This course is just, I'm burnt out. This isn't working. I don't know what to do. We get on a call, and this guy's just full of energy. He's like, dude, like, I love, like, he's like, bro, like, thank you so much for hitting me up, man. Like, you're crushing it. I love your content. I learned so much from you. I'd love to learn from you. And we just had, we just had a conversation. I asked him about his problems and what he wants to do with his music. And I'm like, all right, cool, man. Like, well, I'm putting together this course. It's not like it's not ready yet, but it's $1,500. He's like, cool. Like, I can do that. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, what? I like wasn't expecting him to say yes. And so then that was when I realized that a stranger on the internet will pay another stranger on the internet money for something they find valuable. Yeah. And it changed my life forever. Dude. Yeah. I'm like, whoa. What? I don't know this guy and he's willing to pay me? No, he didn't actually pay me. And he's like, he's like, I just paid rent, but let's like, if we could like split it up 3 ways, I could do it. And I'm like, cool, man. Well, let's put a pin in this, and I'm gonna work on getting the course together. You work on getting the money together, and let's talk again in a week. Funny enough, his account actually got like suspended or something. So I lost him, but like the lesson was learned. Right. I was like, this is real.
You can make money from like something you actually like, something you're passionate about.
And since then, it was pedal to the metal. But that next 8 months or so was just like a really rough and confusing time for me, because so then I went to Cosmic Academy, and I had an identity crisis that entire year. I'm like, dude, what am I gonna do? I can't teach this stuff. I signed this thing. I'm not allowed to teach it. I'm an artist. I can't be a teacher. I can't put energy into teaching others. I have to be an artist. I'm working my job. Like, maybe I should just like be a software engineer and then make music. Like, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. But then I also had this other thing like, wait, but no, I have this really great course. I have this really great thing that I could teach people. And for context too, I had been teaching people for a long time. I taught kids how to play instruments at summer camp. I was like 15 years old. I taught like piano, sax, clarinet. I was a math tutor. I worked at Mathnasium. It's like Human. I worked at Mathnasium for 3 years in high school. That was, by the way, a really great job for me. I loved it. I was good at it. I loved working with the kids. They loved working with me, and I actually got them great results. I got them really great results. All my students who learned with me, like, I had a ton of kids who like they like couldn't learn math. I taught these kids math, and they understood it. And like the joy in these kids' faces. These kids hated math, and they loved math when they worked with me, because I made them get it. And I was like, yo, I like this. I like teaching. I'm good at it. And it brings me joy to bring others joy, because they're not stuck on this thing that they know they need to learn, that they've been trying to learn, that no one else has been able to teach them. And for some reason, I'm just able to teach them. And I'm like, holy crap, like I like this. I actually really like this. And so that was my experience being a math tutor in high school. I make good money doing that too. And so
but the identity crisis coming from like you want to teach, you think you'd be good at it, you just spent money on this course thing, and you see that you now can, but you physically can't because you're in Cosmic Academy and there's like a agreement where it says you can't teach.
Yeah.
So what's the identity crisis?
I think so. That
you don't know what to do now.
So the identity crisis was partially that I was having a ton of anxiety around the fact that like, oh crap, like I'm literally starting a course on how to teach this, but I'm about to go through someone else's program, and like I morally can't take what they're teaching. Yeah. Not only because I've signed this thing, but because it's the wrong thing to do. Now that's not true. I don't believe that's true. And the thing is, it's not like I was stealing their whole program. Sure. Right. But my thing was like, well, crap. Like, they're teaching music production, and like, they have a certain way of doing things. And
so then you must have sensed at that time that like I know it was, a year prior to the performance improvement plan, but you must have sensed that like this wasn't really going to be the path if you were really considering other things, other ways to make money. Like you must have known that like it was going to come to a head at some point with NCR, with software engineering.
I was starting to get that sense, but at that point I just wasn't. I was kind of just trying not to think about it. Okay. Honestly. And so, yeah, dude. So I'm there, Course Builder, Cosmic. Yeah. So I was going through Course Builder in like January, February, and then so essentially March comes along, 2023. And I basically put a pause on all that. But again, I just had the call with the guy, and he's like, I'm willing to pay you this money for this course. I'm like, oh crap, like that's cool. Okay, but then I went through Cosmic's program and kind of put it on pause. Really just dedicated myself to going through the program properly, learning from them. And then it was after that, like kind of April, that summer 2023, where I really had the crisis of just like, I was just like kind of jumbled in my head. I wasn't clear on like the direction I needed to take and like what I needed to do. Because I also at the time, so this guy Arlen Moore, one of my mentors and a friend of mine now, he had a course. He was in the course with Adam, in Course Builder, and again they're shooting this course. They're in like, I think it's called like Caracas, Mexico, or something like that. It's not the exact word, but okay, it's like a really high end place in Mexico, and they're shooting this course like with the podcast, and there's just like ocean behind them, the cliffs, and I'm like, dude, like what did these guys do? Like what the heck? Like these guys are clearly making a buttload of money shooting this course from literally the Windows XP screen over here. Like yeah. So I'm like, what do they do? Like I want to know what they're doing. And then it's like, then they're like in the next one they're in Cannes, France, and then they're in Italy, and I'm like, dude, what the heck? Like these guys ain't working a 9-to-5. Like, what is this? And so I think there's just even going through their course, I just had so much intrigue. I'm like, bro, like, you don't get that kind of money working at NCR, bro. just to be blunt, like, yeah. I was like, you don't, well, or maybe you do, right? But to be their age, like, you don't get that kind of money at their age. Yeah, working a 9-to-5. Yeah. And I was like, I want that money at their age. And so automatically I'm like, okay, well, software engineering isn't going to get me there. I just knew that instinctively. Like that isn't going to take me there. It just isn't. And I knew the trajectory I was on. I knew I was making, which is good money. But even the growth of where I was going to be, I was like, dude, it's not going to happen. It's going to take me like 30 years to get there. I don't have 30 years. I'm trying to live that life now. I'm trying to live that life young, bro. And so, yeah. And so I ended up buying Arlen's course too. So okay. Arlen has
all in on the courses.
Yes, because he had a course called Tribe Accelerator, and his whole thing was like how to build an online brand, how to network with high value people, how to network with other people who are making a lot of money online. And so now I'm starting to have this really weird conflict of interest with my current friend group in Atlanta, because I'm like really going in on this kind of entrepreneurial path, learning about how to start a brand, make money online, and like network with high net worth individuals and like do all these things. But at the same time, my only friends are these people from college, from the frats, who like were getting messed up every weekend, going to bars, and they're working the 9 to 5, and like that's their path, and like that's all they care about doing. And so I'm at the point where I'm starting to stay home on weekends and work on music and work on my the course, because I'm like, dude, I can't go out. Like I actually would rather stay home and like work on this right now. And so it isolated me. At the same time, you know, you confound that with the fact that I still had a lot of the self-worth issues and those limiting beliefs about men and women and other people. And I had a lot of rage and anger still pent up from my childhood. Things kind of came to pass with my friends a little bit. I said some things I shouldn't have. I'm not exactly sure what I said to this day, but some people got really upset and they stopped hanging out with me.
And so you're feeling
this is the summer of 2023.
Isolated, starting to sense that kind of software engineering and, you know, NCR might not be the best fit. And so you're like digging deeper into music and looking to spend, you know, more of your time building out this course, figuring out how to be an entrepreneur and make money from like the stuff that you actually love.
Yes.
Is that like accurate?
It's completely accurate.
Okay.
And I had this burning passion. I had this fire inside me, this indistinguishable fire in me, that I was going to figure this out.
Yeah.
That I was going to make stupid money from this.
Sure.
It was it was unstoppable. I'm like, I'm gonna get rich off this. And not for the sake of like, oh, look at me, I'm trying to be a billionaire. Like, no, like I'm trying to get rich off this so I can be free, so I can do what I want to do. It wasn't about not being a software engineer, because being a software engineer is bad. It's just I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Totally.
I wanted to do music.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't do music in the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm going through Arlen's course, and that set me on a path as well. That led me to some people. That led me to finding my current mentors in October of 23. And they're like, we will help you build your brand from scratch. Because at that time, I was like, I need help with this, dude. Like, I need to build a brand, but I'm also making my music. But I need to learn how to, like, you know, post content that's good, because I knew at that time that content was what I needed to be doing. But I sucked at it. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was posting and it wasn't working and I wasn't growing, and I had no idea what I was doing. October 2023, my homie Will connected me with my current mentor Nick, and his business Launch Socials, and they changed my life forever, dude. I found their program. They're like, I was researching a lot of different people. I'm like, I need help with this. And I'm like, I think this is it. And they're like, yeah, we'll help you get to 10 to 20K a month. And if you don't make your investment back, we'll refund you. I'm like, all right, well, there's really no risk here either. It was just like Course Builder all over again.
Right.
Like, what? Like, if I just do the work, what am I going to lose? $6,000? That's what they were charging me at the time. I'm like, well, I'm in so much pain right now. Man, my job isn't what I want to be doing. My friends stopped hanging out with me. I have no other choice. And so I literally took out a new credit card. It was like 0% for a year. I did not have that money, but it didn't matter. I needed to do it. So I took out the card and joined their program. And then here's where we get back to the performance improvement plan. So October 2023 to April 2024, I'm going through the program. They gave me a whole plan, helped me with my content. It was amazing program that they have. Truly changed my life. Still working my job. I get off work and it's nonstop. I get off work, it's content, it's music, it's building my brand. Like there were no breaks. There was no social life. I didn't have friends, really. I mean, I had a few friends. So that's also not true. I had a few friends, but I didn't have a friend group. There was no social plans anymore. Every weekend. There was no default inclusion into social plans via tribe that I was a part of. My tribe had excluded me now.
Sure.
I was on my own, effectively. And again, I had a few one-off friends, but dude, I was on my own. It was me and my apartment in Atlanta and my 9 to 5 and my mentors. Yeah. And a few of my one-off homies. And I went all in on this, dude. I would go to work. I get off. I make music. I make content. It was a real day. They're like, yeah, we need a real every day from you. There's like, you do not take a day off. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to post the content. I'm going to make the content, and I'm not going to stop. And when I made that declaration, all the pain of my entire life was behind it. I'm done, dude. I'm done feeling like there's a problem with me. I'm done feeling like other people are upset because of me and it's my fault. I'm done feeling like I have no control over my life. I'm done feeling like I'm not making the money I want to make. I'm not dating the girl I want to date. I'm not having the friends I want to have. I'm not looking the way I want to look. I'm done. And whenever I didn't want to post a reel, that's what I remembered, and I would post it anyway. I'd do it anyway. I'm like, okay, I got off work. I've got four hours, maybe sometimes 3 hours. There's no video games. There's no TV. I didn't have a TV. TV wasn't an option, dude. Like, I had to work.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I didn't have friends, dude. I was all alone. Except for again, I had a few on friends, but I didn't have a tribe, none of that. I was pretty much every Friday, Saturday night, I was just in my room working.
Yeah. And so, but NCR, so
yes,
you're on a PIP, and then take us to the absolute like breaking point.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
this is where it gets really juicy.
For those that are just listening for the first time, like there was a big inflection point.
So here's where it gets really juicy. So that's my life, 2024. Early 2024, I also started dating this girl. That was nice because I hadn't been with anyone in almost 3 years at that point in any capacity. I was just focused on me, and again, I just had a lot of anxiety, man, and I was really in my head, and I didn't really talk to. I had a lot of negative views about women too, and that was on me, and that's something that I've worked through now, and that's completely changed. But it was what it was, and that was my worldview, and it was holding. I didn't really date very much, and I wanted to break out of that, and I did. And I got a girlfriend, and so that was around February of 2024. That's not like a super important part of the story, but just some context. So we're dating at the time, and that was nice because it honestly she was an escape for me from just all this stuff, like trying to figure like the content, the business I'm trying to build, but it's just not there yet. The job I hate, the fact that I don't really have any friends. So it was nice, and like we got along really well. I was like kind of into Latin dance at the time, and so was she. So we'd like go Latin dancing, and like she was just a really sweet girl, and we had a good time, and like it was nice. It was a nice escape from everything. April comes along. I'm in that meeting with my manager.
The performance improvement meeting.
And they put me on this performance improvement plan.
Got it.
And again, at the time, so I'm posting content every day. I'm working on music, and I'm also I'm dating this chick at the time. And again, I don't really have any friends. And I'm like, oh crap, and I was also working with I had a different mentor too, who was like helping with my fitness. Actually, that's not super important, but so they put me on this plan. It's April 1st, and they're like, okay, it's a 3-month plan. So June 30 is like the day that it's over. So effectively, in my mind,
there was no chance you were gonna perform based on everything that you're talking about. All the
and that's not.
energy.
It's not that I didn't want to. It's that I actually just like it just wasn't gonna happen, dude. I didn't have the skills.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the right headspace. I was struggling.
You're doing other things.
I was doing other things, and I just wasn't good enough at the job. I just wasn't good enough, dude. I mean, that's why they put me on the plan in the first place.
So June 30th. You're kind of approaching that deadline, like fully prepared, like to be let go from this performance reason.
Yeah, and this is just under 2 years ago now, which is absolutely insane to think about. It's funny. It's actually pretty much exactly 2 years ago. And I just made a video about this the other day. It was when I was probably in the most despair that I had ever been in. So for further context, So June comes along, and I'm just so in my head about this performance thing. There were like I think 7 tasks that I needed to get done. I'm still on task number 3, and essentially what ended up happening was I get stuck on this. I like finished it, but with software engineering, you have to debug and you have to like make sure everything actually runs past the tests, passes all the tests. And so there was this one test that just kept failing and failing over and over again. I got stuck in it for 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I could not figure out what the absolute heck was wrong with this test and why it wasn't passing. Everything else worked for 5 weeks. It's a 12-week performance plan. For 5 weeks, I got stuck trying to debug this one test. I would get off work, I'd bring my laptop home, and I would work for 2 more hours trying to figure it out. I could not figure it out. I got the lead developer to help me. He couldn't figure it out either. We were both working on it for 3 weeks. Turns out there was one error. One little character was like capitalized instead of being not capitalized in the test, not my code. The test was broken.
Wow.
And it was something that an engineer from 8 years ago wrote. Dude, the lead developer, he's been at the company for 10 years, looked at me and he's like, dude, like, this was not your fault. You had nothing to do with this. This was not you. I couldn't figure it out. We were both stuck on it for 3 weeks. He was even working on it off the clock. Bless that man, it's hard, dude. Eddie, if you're somehow listening to this, I love you, man. You're the man. You got me through like one of the roughest times. Anyway, gosh, bless that man's heart. Goodness gracious. He couldn't figure it out, dude. He's been a software engineer for 20 years, and we were stuck on it for weeks. And it wasn't even my fault. It wasn't even my fault, dude. But I finally fixed it.
Yeah.
God, I was hopeless, man.
Yeah.
It's 2 years ago today, pretty much, and I still have 60% of the tasks to go. I've got 3.5 weeks. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I remember it was like one random day. It was like the day of that. All our team was gonna go get lunch together. During lunch, I just leave. I just left the office. I didn't eat that day. I walked to Piedmont Park in Atlanta. I just sat by the pond, just sobbed my fucking eyes out, dude. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm lost. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I'm lost. I hate this job. I suck at it. And these bugs are like not even my fault, and I'm not gonna finish this plan because of this thing that I was stuck for 5 weeks on. And I want to do music, and at the time I'm still working with my mentors, but I had about 3,000 followers, and I'm like, dude, like, you know, they're gonna help me launch my offer and like start my business, but like I'm not ready yet. I don't have the following yet, because they're like, you know, you really need to be at like 5,000 followers before you start your offer. I only had like 2,000. Really, actually, yeah, I had about like 2,000 at the time, and I'm like, I'm just hopeless. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm dating this girl, and like she was nice, but at the same time, like, she wasn't really what I was looking for, and I knew that, but I still stayed with her because it was comfortable, and she was like one of the only sources of things that felt good to me, besides the music and a few of those one-off friends. But I'm like, dude, I'm hopeless. I just don't know what I'm gonna do. But you know, cried a bit, and then I felt better after that. Went back to the office, and I just kept working, man, and I did what I could and then I just kept working on the tasks. It's still June. 1 week before the end of June. So for context, the girl I was seeing at the time was studying abroad. We'd only been dating for like 2 months, so like wasn't really. We were dating for like 4. I made her my girlfriend like 2 months after we met. Too soon, but whatever. She was studying abroad, and like we were still talking, and like we wanted to, she still wanted to be with me, and likewise. But I don't hear from her like for almost a day. About like one week before the end of June, and I'm like sitting at work, just like, and she's like, hey, like, and I hear from her again. She's like, sorry, like my phone died or whatever, and she was in like Argentina or something. She's like, hey, can we talk? And it's like an hour before I get off work, and so I'm like, yeah, like let's talk in an hour. And so that whole that was one of the longest hours of my life, dude. I was just, my body was, my heart was just racing. I'm in this like survival state. I'm like, holy crap, dude. Like what, like, is she gonna break up with me? Like, like please, I don't want it to be over. Like all these things. And I get off work. She calls me and she breaks up with me. And she's like, hey, like this is about me, not you. Like I'm not over this guy that I was dating for 3 years. They were together for 3 years before me. They broke up in like December. We started dating in like February. And it's like, it's just like, I've been like reflecting on myself a lot, studying abroad, and like I'm about to graduate and I want to go like travel the world and stuff. And like, this just doesn't make sense for me right now. Very mature girl. She did the right thing.
Yeah.
She like, seriously, great woman. Wish her all the best. She did the right thing. But fuck, it broke my heart.
Sure.
I was crushed.
Broke your heart.
I was crushed.
Not having close friends.
I was
on the verge of
like
failing this PIP.
Yep. I was crushed.
Yeah.
Sobbed my eyes out again. It was like one of the worst. I'd hardly ever felt worse, because it felt like such a blow. I took it so. See, the thing is, the reason I was crushed wasn't because she was broke up with me. It was because I took it so personally.
Yeah.
But it had not. It wasn't. There was nothing I did wrong, but I didn't see it that way at the time, and so I just took it so personally, and it was just a blow to my ego. It was a blow to my self-worth, to my confidence, to everything. And it's like, on top of that, well, it's like my job's not going well, and I'm 2 weeks out from the PIP being over, and I'm halfway done with the work only, and it crushed me, dude. It crushed me. Next week comes along. I have bi-weekly meetings with my manager. Every 2 weeks. They're every 2 weeks. It's never like in between those 2 weeks. Weeks 1 and 3 of the month, not 2 and 4. It's week 4 of the month. I see a one-on-one with my manager pop up on my schedule on week 4. I'm like, it's not week 3. Why is there a meeting showing up? But the PIP is about to be over. It's the end of June, so I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, we were talking about me getting some more time. I also like went on vacation with my family, so I missed a week. So I'm like, okay, he's, manager probably wants to talk to me about that. Yeah. And extending the time. Oddly enough, I still remember that day. I was really grateful. I was like, you know what? Like, again, had just a rough time. Girlfriend broke up with me. I was like, you know what, dude? I'm grateful to be here. I was oddly calm that day. I'll never forget that. I was like, you know what, dude? Like, it's working out for me. Like, I'm grateful to be here for this job, and they're gonna give me some more time. It's all gonna work out. Like, it's a good opportunity. I'm just grateful to be here. So 10 a.m. rolls along. I'm like, okay, well, here, I got this meeting to go to. And so manager grabs me and we walk into the room. And at first I thought we walked into the wrong room, because when we walked in, there's someone else's computer like in the table, and that's never happened before. I'm like, hey, to my manager, I'm like, hey, like, I think we're in like the wrong room or something here. He just doesn't say anything. Sits not at the laptop, but like kind of adjacent to the seat. I'm sitting across from the laptop. It's just a moment of silence. It's in this other guy who I've seen around the office, who's clearly like a higher up of my manager, walks in. He's like super sharp dressed, sits down at the laptop. They both look at me at the same time, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh crap. So my manager's like, hey, like, unfortunately, your position is going to be like effectively and immediately terminated at NCR, because there's been like some internal restructuring, and as a result, like, your role doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, crap. I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, the company's undergoing like massive restructuring. This has nothing to do with your performance. We're just removing your job, basically.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing to do with my performance? I asked them 3 times. I'm like, performance improvement plan, deadline is tomorrow. I suck at my job. I have for a long time now. This has nothing to do with that. And they're like, nope, it has nothing to do with that. You're going to get severance. Like, super sorry about this. Like, we're here to support you in this transition. I could not contain my smile.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. Like, are you being for real right now? Like,
right.
like, where's the camera? Like, are you screwing with me right now? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing to do with my performance. Like, what are the odds of this? They laid off I think 20% of our platform.
Wow.
That day. We left the meet, and they're like, any questions? I'm like, no. Like, okay, like, it's time to go. I'm like, oh wait, like, right now. Because like, I thought, so like, in my mind, I'm like, when people get laid off, they get like their 2 weeks, right? Or because like, you put in a 2 weeks notice to quit.
Yeah.
So you get like your 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay. So like, I'm going to be gone in 2 weeks. And they're like, okay, go get your stuff. I'm like, oh, wait, like now? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So we walk back to my desk. Manager's standing over my shoulder, like as I'm getting my stuff. I'm like, all right, okay, like I'm getting my stuff. Don't worry. Give him my laptop. And I stand up. My team has no clue what's going on. They're just doing their jobs. Like no one knew. And Chinton, my manager, bless his heart, he's like, hey, like, Mark here is going to be going away, unfortunately. And everyone's like, oh, like what? Everyone was like kind of sad and confused. And they're like, all right, like, bye. Yeah, dude. Amazing people, truly. All the best of them, if they're listening. But they're like, oh, like, oh crap, like, bye. Like they no one had any idea, dude. And they laid off like a lot of the platform. Good kids got laid off too. Like a lot of like the other engineers got laid off who I wasn't even expecting. I heard lost of jobs. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But you must have been like liberated at this point.
I was. Yeah. And so, manager walks me to the elevator, and in the elevator, he's like, dude, like, I'm so sorry. Like he's like, I'm actually kind of frustrated about this. Like I had no idea this was going to happen. He didn't know about it. Like it was beyond him even.
Sure.
2 minutes later, I'm out the door forever. And that was it. Gave him my key card, never looked back. And I remember just walking around. I remember just like walking around the town, and I screamed, bro. I was like, I'm out. Like I just felt this freedom that I never felt. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm free. Like I literally screamed at the top of my lungs, like broad daylight. I'm like, I'm free.
Yeah.
I was running around Midtown like an idiot, dude.
Wow.
I literally ran to the woods. I like ran home, just turned my fucking decks on and like DJ'd as like maximum volume, just threw down like 30 minutes of dubstep. Then I like ran to the park and meditated in the woods for like a half hour. And then I'm like, now what? Gosh, I mean, I called my parents. Like I called my homie who was still working at the company. I'm like, dude, like, holy crap. And he's like, dude, holy crap. And he told me, he's like, yeah, bro, 30 people just walked out.
Wow.
And it was like one of the biggest layoffs I think they'd ever had. And I was like, all right. I got a pen and paper. I'm like, I think I can make this work. I got 2 months. I'm 20K in debt. I was 20K in debt. I spent too much money, and also the mentorship cost me, and my rent was really expensive. Like, okay, it's a little earlier than I wanted it to be, but I think I'm ready to actually do this. And honestly, I had no other choice, bro. I was like, okay, well, I did the math. I'm like, there's no job that I could get that would pay me enough to pay my rent and my debt. And on top of this, further context, I'd actually been trying to get another software engineering job since January. So on top of the content, on top of my job, on top of the girl I was seeing, the music, I was also applying to jobs, interviewing. I applied to maybe 500. I was busting my ass.
Yeah.
Trying to get another, because it's like I was unhappy. It's like I'm not going to not do anything about that.
Sure.
I was busting my ass. I don't know how I did all that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, where do you think that work ethic came from?
The pain, dude. All I knew was work. I was so unhappy. It sounds like it was almost an
escape.
Yeah, it was. Pain. It was, dude. I was so unhappy with my life and how I felt and who I was, and the fact that like my friends had rejected me.
Yeah.
Like the women I want rejected me. I hated my job. My manager even really rejected me, not intentionally. I mean, he's just doing his job, but it's like I was on this plan. All I knew was the work.
Yeah.
And I knew I was good at music. But yeah, dude. And so
So you went all in.
So I went all in.
All in on the course and all on the music.
I was like, there's nothing that's gonna pay me enough money to make the money I need fast enough.
Yeah.
To make what I need to make to pay off my debts. It's just not gonna happen. And I tried to get another job. I interviewed for this one company. It was like 5 rounds of interviews. I made it to the 5th round, and they cut me.
Yeah.
I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You just wasted all of my time, and for what?
Yeah.
I even learned a new programming language for that interview, bro. And like I actually got like decent at it for the interview, and they cut me at the final round. On top of everything else, I'm like, you know what, dude? Success is the only option.
Sure.
I am making money from this now. There was that I decided.
Yeah.
There was no I want to do this. There was no I hope. No, it was a decision.
Yeah.
I was like, I am going to make money from this. I am going to launch this offer. I am going to close deals, and I'm going to do this for a living now for the rest of my life. Or so help me God, I will be out on the street and die homeless.
Wow.
No, that wouldn't have happened because like
Sure.
I got a family like that supports me. Like that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like that. Like
Sure.
emotionally, I'm like, this works or I'm done.
Yeah.
It was do or die, bro.
So trace the come up.
It was do or die.
Yeah. Like what did
Like
what-
the girl, like this girl broke up with me. I lost my job. All my friends had ostracized me and cast me out. I'm like, it's do or die, dude. And I did it.
So what did you do? Like walk us through, because there's two sides. There's the music side.
Yes.
And there's also like the business entrepreneurial course side.
Yes. So it's June, July. Again, and at this time, I started to make some new friends too. So I had a couple homies who I was trying to chill with more often, and that was like really grounding during this time because they were there for me and like they were real ones. And I kind of told them what happened with my other homies, and they were really kind, good people that I'm still friends with to today. Some of my closest friends. Shout out Fernando. Shout out Mike if you're listening to this. By any
Shout
chance.
out.
But yeah. July. Yeah, so July again. I'm still working on my mentors. I told them what happened. I'm like, dude, I'm launching this offer now. I can't wait. First week of July, I post this meme about like a fish making dubstep or something. It gets 10 million views, and I gained 5,000 followers from it.
Talk about a sign from the universe.
I'm like, what the heck, man?
Wow.
Yeah, and so followers are coming in. I'm like, all right, like, I have the infrastructure in front of me to launch this offer. I have the mentors that were helping me, and they're like, yeah, dude, we're with you on this. Like we got you. Like whatever you need, like we're gonna help you with this. Like you got this. And so, yeah, July. I mean, I'm just like getting people on calls, just trying to like, I bought Alex Hormozy's books on like 100M offers, 100M leads. I'm going through. I'm like excited and so scared.
Yeah.
I was working at actually one of the Georgia Tech buildings. It's like, I'm like, holy crap, like I don't have a job anymore, so I can just go all in on this all day. I was just working on it. Like I'm writing out like, okay, like what are like the avatar's problems and desires? Like what are people struggling with? What do they need help with? The whole 9 yards. Going through Hormozy's program, also doing my mentors launch process too.
Mm-hmm.
And then August to September, I woke up, treadmill on my balcony, and I out Hormozy's like, you gotta DM 100 people a day. It was Course Builder all over again, except even more now. So I just started DMing my followers. I DM people who commented on my shit, people who were fans, people who were liking my posts. I would go into the likes on my reels, DM 100 people who liked my posts. And so I'm like, dude, this is the only option I have.
Yeah.
Like I got to get clients.
Yeah.
I had no idea if it was going to work or not. It was terrifying.
It's crazy drive, but go on.
August I closed about, I think 7 clients at $2K each. I'd never made that much money in a month before. And I'm like, oh my God, I did it.
Yeah.
That made me just enough to support myself for the few months and pay off not even all my debt, but enough of my debt to transfer the rest of it to another 0% card to avoid the interest. And then I was like, that was the first time I realized like, okay, I can actually do this and like I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna like be on the street, God forbid. September I didn't really make any money. October, similar. I think I got like 5 new clients or so. November, December was also pretty slow. But at that point, like the growth had stalled a bit, but I'm at like 8 or 9,000 followers at that point. I'm helping my clients and they're getting good results.
Yeah.
And they like working with me and they're thanking me for the program. And at that point, the whole thing was like, okay, the offer I came up with, and again, just following Hormozy's frameworks, learning from my mentors, was like, pay me $2K, and for 6 months, you get unlimited access to me. Like
Yeah.
one-on-one call anytime you want, one-on-one feedback anytime you need it. You get a course videos. We're going to do 2 group calls every single week. So you're getting access to a community. Again, I learned a lot of this from Course Builder too. Like 2 group calls a week, community, course. Like you'd be stupid not to pay $2K for that. That was my hypothesis, at least.
Sure.
That's so valuable. And like something that I was lacking in the mentorship that I did was the one-on-one. Like I feel like there was one-on-one, but it, in my opinion, wasn't enough one-on-one. And the feedback they gave me was so valuable, but they didn't give me enough feedback. So I gave my clients unlimited feedback. That was my thing. I'm like, okay, you work with me. You could hit me up every single day for the 6 months, and I will give you feedback every single day. And I was that passionate and convicted in just providing actual value to people who needed it in the way that I knew how to do it.
Sure.
Which was the music.
I mean, that must have felt so good. I mean, you mentioned that, but
it
like,
was just fulfilling.
Coming from such a low, so much despair, is that's the word you used, right? Like, everything was
one of the greatest gifts, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it pushed me to step into this new identity and to build what I built as fast as I could, because I had no choice but to do that.
So you're starting to see some success with the business side, yet your career isn't like fully where you want it to be.
Yeah, and
like,
so that was something.
What's your headspace at? Because like, there's some like positivity, but also like some like lack of like, I don't really want to be there yet. So like, how do you navigate those waters?
So that was tough because, I'm like, I know I'm good. I know I can teach. I know I can help these people, but I didn't really have, what's the word? I didn't really have my flowers yet. Like I didn't have the proof yet, of like, I wasn't really playing shows.
Sure.
I haven't really released much music, and I only had I didn't really have many monthly listeners on Spotify. I released a few songs, but I just had this conviction that I could help these people and that like they should work with me, even though I didn't have those things yet, because I knew I was gonna have those things. It was just still happening for me. January 25, I remix Mindpluck by Subtronics and Hull. Hull, I don't know. Drop it on SoundCloud. And at the same time, I also got my first like decent big booking in Atlanta, playing locally at I believe Music Hall, which was like a really, it's like one of the best dubstep venues out there. And so the remix on SoundCloud starts popping off. And Subtronics finds it and reposts it.
Nice.
He reposts it on Instagram threads. He follows me. He shouts me out, and he's like, "This is insane." He comments on the SoundCloud, follows me on SoundCloud, and I'm like, "Holy crap!" It's freaking Subtronics. He plays it at the Armory.
Wow.
Yeah, and in the video, like probably like 5 people sent me videos. It's like, yo, like they're playing your flip. As I was starting to like have some fans at that point. And I remember in the video, he's like doing this during the jazz part. I'm like, oh my god, he loves it.
Yeah.
And it's freaking Subtronics. Like I'd been following him for a few years at that point, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's like something's happening here. Finally crossed 10K followers on Instagram at that point. And then January, I was about to run out of money. At the time, this is also probably the most important part of the story. I had found the work of this guy Brian Withers, who teaches energy and manifestation and like stuff like the law of attraction, and in a way that I had just never seen it done before. And he has a 20-week program that I tell everyone to do now, and I started doing that at the time. And in week 3, I said what you do is you write out everything you're afraid of, why you're afraid of it, and then you convert those fears to faith and trust. One of my biggest fears was around money. I'm like, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of money because I don't believe, and this is the way he phrases it. You put it in terms of like personal power. It's like, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of money because I don't believe I have the power to have more money. And I'm like, wait, well, that sounds kind of ridiculous. I actually do believe I could do that. And so you start to dismantle it.
Yeah.
And so every time I had negative emotion around money, I was about to run out of money, but it didn't matter because I just knew more was going to come.
Yeah.
And then more came.
Well, you believed in yourself when you just like understood the implied message behind the fear. You're like, wait a second, that's kind of crazy.
It was.
Like you have clearly this very strong conviction in yourself.
Exactly. And so then like in January 2025, I was like, wait a minute. I was doing this program and like intentionally kind of shifting my beliefs around it. I'm like, I simply trust that money's going to come. And that's not me sitting on my couch doing nothing, but I was able to find relief about it. Like, okay, like I know I'm about to run out of money, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because more is going to come.
Yeah.
And then I made $7K in a week.
Wow.
3 people DM'd me asking for help, and I closed all 3 of them. And I made $7K in 1 week. I'm like, holy crap.
That's wild. That's
I'm like, holy crap, that's 3 months rent.
That's like another
And I'm just like
immediate sign.
Yep.
Like piece of feedback from whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, so whatever it is. It's just like, or nothing. Don't call it anything. It's like just an immediate sign of like, yeah, like you're on the right track. Here you go. Here's the money, or here's the remix blowing up, or here's whatever.
No, exactly. And so that was when I started to see the correlation between the way I was feeling and then things happening in my life that were working out for me that seemed to not be causally related to those emotions, but that I couldn't explain it any other way.
Yeah.
All I knew is I started thinking differently and feeling better, and then things started happening. And I call it quantum physics because there was a cause and an effect.
Yeah.
I felt more positive emotion, I would make more money. My content would do better. And then things would just, work out for me. My clients would get good results, whatever.
So was it this Brian Withers course that like really shaped this, crazy growth factor in 2025?
It completely and utterly and fundamentally revolutionized the way I think about absolutely everything forever.
That's a crazy sentence. I love it.
And I couldn't be more accurate in saying that.
Yeah.
Like I mean every word.
Yeah. Wow.
It really, his worldview and the way that he approaches this, it's core to everything I do. It's pretty much the exact message of my brand, and it's everything I stand for. And it always will be.
Those are some bold claims.
I'm pretty much 100% sure that's never going to change. Now, it's not to say there isn't more to learn. There's always more to learn. But I'm so convicted in what I learned from him and who I feel like we are as human beings now that like I built my entire business on it and everything on it. And like the more I feel like I dive into it, the more it seems to be true. And that's not to say it explains everything. I don't think any framework does or can. But it's clear to me that thoughts have feelings, and there's certain thoughts that feel good, and there's certain thoughts that don't. And I don't see how that can't be true for everyone.
Sure.
And those feelings are doing something in this universe of energy. It's not just like you just feel sad, or it's like, no, these feelings are like radio signals, and you're tuning yourself to a certain station, dude. Like it's not a matter of debate.
You're saying by thinking those negative versus positive.
Exactly. Yeah. Like those negative or positive thoughts have energy associated with them, and that energy goes out into the universe and brings more of what matches it to you.
Sure.
I swear on my life. Like, and again, it's like I have to present this as hypothesis. I believe it to be objective truth. I can't necessarily present it in that way.
Right.
I know a lot of people have varying viewpoints, but like, to me, it's clear that like, the more positive thinking thoughts we feel, the better our life goes. To me, that's a law of like physics. That's science. To me, that's just science.
Sure.
Like I've seen it time and time and again. And like the money thing, like I changed the belief around money, and then the money came. And so I think of that as physics. It's cause and effect. It's not subjective. It's a law. It seems to be a law, at least.
Yeah, well,
that's not to say that like bad things don't happen, or like things we don't want don't happen, or that everything's perfect. But like,
yeah, well, it sounds like you're speaking from your experience, right? I think you made that clear, and so based on your experience, like this feels very true, and like it is true for you, and like maybe it could also be true for other people.
And if you're skeptical, good. I want you to be. And here's what you can do to prove it to yourself. First of all, read E Squared by Pam Grout.
What is it called?
E Squared.
E Squared, okay.
E Squared by Pam Grout. It's 10 like actual experiments you can do to prove that your thoughts create your reality, and to prove that by thinking you can influence physical reality. And here's the second one. Brian taught me this. This is a balloon experiment. Every friend I've taught this to has seen it.
Okay.
So essentially, you set an intention with the universe of like, I want to see a balloon.
Yeah.
A fucking balloon. And you choose a color. Like, okay, I want to see a pink balloon. I want to see a green balloon. And you set the intention, you set the desire, and then you forget about it. And you're going to see that damn balloon. And it's going to be in a way that you don't expect. If you're listening to this, again, don't take my word for it. Do it. Set the intention. Be like, okay, I want to see a magenta, whatever color. You can do any color you want. Every single person I've told this to has done it and has seen the balloon on the street. Or it doesn't have to be an actual balloon even. It could be like in a movie or something. And it's been in enough of a one-off way where they're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
Here's my story. For me, I picked yellow. I'm like, okay, let's, you're right. Let's stress test this. I don't want to just like believe something. Let's try it. Cause I don't just like take it at face value. Like I want to prove that it's real. I don't want to just be like, oh, woo, woo, whatever. You're the creator of your reality. The universe, this, universe, that. Like, let's try it. And so I'm like, okay, I want to see a yellow balloon. So I'm on a Zoom call with one of my students and some with like these online softwares like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, etc. If you like wave your hand in a certain way, it'll like create, if you do this, like it'll create these like heart emojis or whatever.
That. Yeah.
And so by accident, I don't know what I did, but all these balloons start coming up behind me in the video. And then one of them was yellow. I'm like, wait a minute. I've never seen this. It's still only happened once to this day.
Yeah.
I think it was OBS or something I was using. And I see this yellow balloon behind me. And like I'm like, wait, that's so funny. But I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm kind of skeptical. I'm like, oh, well, there's also all these other colored balloons. 2 weeks later, I'm walking to the gym in Atlanta on the route that I always walk on. And it's like, I think it was actually St. Patrick's Day. And I'm walking to the gym and I see a single yellow balloon on the side of the road. Just in a bush. I'm like, where's the camera, bro? Are you screwed with me right now? Like, is this real?
So
like, what?
Skeptics would say, oh, that's just chance both times.
On the way back from the gym, it's gone. And there's this apartment in Atlanta, and the way that Atlanta is stylized, the apartments are like outdoor. So there's like a courtyard. You walk into the courtyard and then you like walk from the courtyard into your apartment. Turns out it was like St. Patrick's Day. I look in the apartment and there's a whole archway of yellow balloons. And they're having some sort of orientation or celebration or party or something. And I'm like, oh. So I don't get to just have the one yellow balloon. I can have as many as I want.
Mm.
And so that's when I learned that's how money works.
Yeah.
Like, that's how money actually works. That's how everything works, dude. That's how our lives work, is you get to have it the way you want it. And it'll come to you. And as long as you're not attached to how it comes, I'm like, I just remember the balloon, dude.
Yeah.
And everyone I told it to, dude, one of my homies, Gabe, it happened to him the next day. He chose orange and he sent me a video freaking out. If I had my phone, I could show it to you right now. Like the video. He's like, dude, like, there's literally an orange balloon. They like saw one orange balloon like on the side of the road. I'm like, you can't make this up.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
it's unbelievable, but it's real.
It sounds like you have a very strong degree of trust in
and you have
something greater than you.
Yeah.
We'll call it that.
Yeah.
And also yourself mm-hmm. and in something greater than you. So I'm curious, like, how does this knowledge, how does your beliefs like impact your day to day now?
I would say the biggest way it impacts my day to day is like really taking radical responsibility and awareness for how I'm feeling in every moment. Where I used to do more, now I stop and I feel better first. Everyone thinks it's about doing more, taking more action to get, the more you do, the more you get. It's completely wrong. It's completely wrong. What you have to do is use your mind to feel good, to feel positive emotion about your life. And then when you're in positive emotion, you receive divine intuition and you'll know what to do.
So what does that practice look like for you?
It looks like this. You ever heard of a fire alarm? It's a dumb question. I know you have. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And I'm going to tell you how, in my opinion, ridiculous it is how we're taught to live life. So what do you do when a fire alarm goes off?
Well, you're supposed to
in your house? Like, what do you do?
like in my apartment, I'm supposed to leave my apartment and go outside and evacuate.
And why do you do that, Jacob?
Because there might be danger. There might be a fire.
Okay.
And I don't want to be in the apartment with fire.
So what if I told you our emotions are the same way?
Okay.
So this is my worldview, and this is like really the shift that I've had. So negative emotion is the fire alarm. It would be ridiculous to stay in the house with the fire alarm going off. Like imagine if the fire alarm is going off and you just sit on your couch. It just goes off for like hours, days, weeks, and you just don't do anything about it. It would be absurd to do that. So this is what's happening with negative emotion. We're thinking thoughts that are generating this low frequency of energy that is a danger to us. It's a danger to our health. It's a danger to our well-being. It's telling us that we're out of alignment with the universe. And if you're new to this stuff, this is going to sound kind of woo-woo, but it's telling you that you're out of alignment with God, and you need to get back in. Like, bro, the fire alarm's going off. Like, pull yourself back in now. That's what emotion is.
Well,
we don't see it that way, dude. And I'm like trying to get people to see it that way. And so, okay, step one is negative. Okay, I'm feeling negative emotion right now. I'm angry or I'm upset or something is bothering me. Okay, that's like step one. Step two is reframing it from the lens of the truth, which is that everything's okay, everything's working out for you, and there's no problem. And you essentially you can. There's a way to feel good about it, and you gotta feel good. You gotta pull yourself back, or else you're gonna be on the radio station of the life you don't want. It's that simple.
So what about the thoughts that so that, I mean, it makes sense to me. It's like, okay, if you have negative thoughts, stop thinking about them, focus on positive things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like loosely, that's the gist. There are also thoughts that stem from trauma.
Yes.
So what about those thoughts? The thoughts that seemingly can't be controlled, seemingly won't go away, seemingly can't be drowned out by positivity, right? Because some could argue what you're describing sounds like repression.
Yes, and it isn't when you do it right. You're not, because repression would be like, getting fucked up, in my opinion, or like using something to like dull those thoughts. This is actually the opposite of that. This is actually using those thoughts in what I believe to be true, in the way that they're meant to be used. Again, you don't take the batteries out of the fire alarm. You put the fire out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or you see if there is actually a fire first, and then you put the fire out. You don't take you don't go like, oh, I'm gonna just go like take the batteries out like that. Like screw the fire alarm.
Totally.
You don't blame the fire alarm. The fire alarm is just telling you about the fire.
Sure.
So what's happened is during our upbringing, I think everyone can probably relate to this to some degree. What's happened is we have become stuck in this survival state because of the way our parents have thought. So what happens is at some point in our life there was actual danger. And so our bodies are meant to keep us alive. And so what happens is we're in actual danger. And so we have these thoughts about a situation like, oh, wait, I'm not safe. Uh-oh, crap. The actual fire alarm does go off. And the thing is the fire alarm evil or bad? No. It's your best friend when there's a fire, right? Because you have to know that there's a fire. So that's why we have that. But the problem is the actual risk and danger that we were in at some point in our life. The problem is, what happens is we get programmed from these dangerous experiences, and so that's what trauma is. It's a survival response. At some point, you actually weren't safe. And so if you're in a parasympathetic nervous system state during those situations, you're not going to be in a fight or flight mode, which means the danger could kill you, actually. And so what do we do? Danger thoughts, boom, cortisol, adrenaline. That goes to your cells. And now what happens is your chemistry gets programmed with stress. And so your cells themselves actually are now neurologically predisposed towards stress chemicals because they need to be, because you're not safe.
Sure.
But the thing is, you actually are safe now.
Right.
Usually, but we don't know that.
So yeah, how do you reprogram that then?
So what we do is, when we're thinking, so when you're in negative emotion, what's really happening is you're in a sympathetic nervous system state. You're stuck in survival, is what's really happening. And the other issue is that, so now what happens is that, so the cells themselves need the stress chemicals to do their job, which is to keep you in that the sympathetic nervous system state, because if you're not going to be on edge and the threat could kill you. So now what happens is you start looking for things to worry about. And so that's why things trigger people, is because at some point that topic was a point of not safety. Like maybe growing up,
Sure.
your parents worried about money, or you actually didn't have money. And so now when you think about money was a source of not safety. So then you have stress chemistry around money. So now when you grow up, you actually have a good job and you're doing okay, but you think you think that money's limited, or you have these limiting beliefs around money.
Mm-hmm.
So now what's happening is the cells are demanding their hit.
Yeah.
You're addicted to worrying about money, like chemically.
Sure.
Actually,
Sure.
like neurochemically addicted to it. Like it's like any drug. And so now the problem is, it's going to be harder for you to feel good about money, like on a physical level, because your cells need the adrenaline and the cortisol to keep you in that stress state that they've been programmed to do. And your body's just doing its job, which is to keep you alive, but it doesn't know any better. And so now that's what's so difficult. And so now the brain itself can manufacture these thoughts that then have these neuropeptides associated with them, which generate those stress chemicals. Boom, cells get their hit. And this is why people spend 40 years living a life they hate, for the thoughts that feel good to you. There's no affirmation that works for everybody. You got to find what feels good to you in the moment. And the thing is, like, if you're really in despair, or really, really anxious, you can't jump from that to like pure joy. You got to just reach. The goal is just reaching for something that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
And now the other aspect of this too is I refer to this as the software side of things.
Okay.
The hardware side of things is, that's your meditation, that's your breath work, that's your going to the gym, which I believe, like, even working out, I think it like burns stress chemicals. I think so. It's
You're transmuting energy 100%.
And so there's the hardware reset of like, okay, you're trying to think different and nothing's working. Go for a run. Go to the gym. Do a round of Wim Hof breath work. That's huge for me. Meditate. Just like take some deep breaths. Take a cold shower. These hardware resets can kind of like jolt yourself back into a parasympathetic dominant state, where sometimes those thoughts, you're trying to think better and you just have this wave of negative energy and you're just so deep in that survival state. Sometimes you just need like a little jolt.
Yeah, it's a very interesting framework. It resonates with some things that I've encountered in my journey. So I've heard something similar to this, not exactly the same. But it's cool to like hear it explained the way you do. And it's also amazing to hear how both the software and hardware, like the whole thing, has really allowed you to go from the lowest point of your life, that moment of despair or the period of despair, to like you feeling so good now.
Yeah, dude, it's been absolutely insane. And look, I'm not saying this is the perfect framework. I don't know everything. No one does. But what I do believe I know is exactly this. Like, we have the ability to think. All of us have that ability. We have the ability to create and generate thoughts with our mind. I mean, we may not know how we have that ability or where that comes from, but what seems to be clear to me is that those thoughts have an associated feeling with them.
Sure.
And there are thoughts that feel good, and there are thoughts that don't feel good. And everyone I've talked to about this agrees that that's true.
Yeah, I think that's like pretty easy to see for most people. If they have an anxious thought, that makes them feel anxious. You know, like they're like, it's a pretty easy.
Yeah, and so this might ruffle some feathers, but like in my, and again, like I don't ever want to invalidate someone's experience, but like even like anxiety, like no one, I believe no one is like you're not like born with anxiety or depression. anxiety is a belief system. It's you're consistently thinking thoughts that make you anxious. You're consistently thinking thoughts that make you depressed. You're not stuck with that. And if you learn how to think, again, this is hypothesis, right? I do believe it to be true, but hypothesis. If you just learned how to think, if you learned that negative anxiety isn't the enemy, it's the friend. It's the fire alarm. It's like, getting a prescription for anxiety is like taking the batteries out of the fire alarm. It's ridiculous, dude. It's not even ridiculous. Like, I feel like that could be a little harsh. It just doesn't make sense.
Totally.
When you understand what the fire alarm is doing, you wouldn't just take the batteries out. You put the fire out. And so that's, it's why if you, no, that's not to say like a medication can't give you some short-term relief. Like, that's fine. Sure. But like, what you really want to be doing on top of the medication's fine, but what you want to be doing is learning what thoughts am I thinking that are causing the anxiety. And more than often, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those 4 things from your childhood.
Yeah. You
feel like there's something wrong with you. At some point, you were actually unsafe. And so your body you're stuck in a stress chemistry, and you're having a sympathetic nervous system response to things in your life that are triggering you into this response. And if you will, in those moments, calm yourself down, tell yourself, I'm safe, I'm okay, we're here now, I have what I need. And you have the philosophical and intellectual framework as to why that's true. Then you're going to be able to start to generate positive emotion in those scary moments. And that's how you reprogram your chemistry on a physical level. Because now the cells that were stress cells are going to start to be able to do their job. Again, this is my understanding of it based on the happy chemicals. It's like getting dopamine from working out instead of like a vape.
Sure.
You're just reprogramming.
Yeah.
And our bodies are adaptive to that's the other thing. And I think what else makes this really hard though, like if you're stuck in anxiety and it feels like you're just getting pulled back into it. I think the other aspect of this is like our bodies also are trying to keep us in homeostasis. And so your body prefers what's familiar over what's ideal because it's trying to keep you alive. And so I think you mentioned to me like somatic therapy or something like that can be really helpful in this process too. I don't know much about that. But these things, these patterns of anxiety and fear and doubt and confusion and envy and lust and guilt, all these things, they exist as these neural superhighways in our brain and in our body, in our cells. It's all physical. Yeah. As much as it is mental. It's all connected.
Yeah, this might be like, I don't know, controversial. Like,
it's all connected.
Some people might say it's controversial, but there's like a lot of evidence to suggest that like trauma is stored in the body. There's a whole book. It's like The Body Keeps the Score by some Dutch, German, I don't remember, whatever.
I believe that is literally true. Yeah. I mean, think about, again, what is trauma? It's a survival response. Sure. It's a sympathetic survival response that you're having to a certain topic or situation or person because your body decided that you're not safe. And so that literally does live in the body. It literally is physical. I think that's absolutely true. I believe that's absolutely true.
So you're obviously in the weeds with these concepts, dare I say spiritual concepts.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like really interesting beliefs on how to live life and how the body works and how the brain works. And that's obviously influenced your career. Mm-hmm. You're very talented producer.
Thank you.
That occupies a lot of your time, and you have a business. I'm so curious, like, what else do you do? Is this just all this? Because there's a lot already on your plate. But like, who are you
at this point in my life? Not much besides hang out with my friends. Yeah, I work out. That's it, bro. Yeah, I've got so much. Like, I'm working for context. I'm working with about 50 clients right now. Wow. It's just me. I don't have a team. It's actually as of today, that's changed.
So 50 clients that can call you at any time.
Correct.
Wow.
And it's like and the thing is, I am trying to provide a actually valuable high-end service to each and every one of those people, and they're paying me a lot of money, and that's the type of service I want to offer. That's what I wish I had. I mean, I kind of had it, but it's like, yeah, I mean, unlimited feedback on their music. They can get on a one-on-one call anytime. So unlimited one-on-one support. We do 2 group calls a week, and it's like 2-day turnaround time tops. You know, and it's only me right now, and that's, again, as of today. Actually, that has changed.
Oh, you hired somebody.
I have a team now.
Cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
I have a whole team that we're gonna be building this, scaling it up, scaling the ads up, bringing on a setter. Well, he's actually one of my students. Shout out Tripping Sax.
What's a setter?
Setter is someone who does DMs and communicates with leads and prospects to get them on the calendar for you to have a sales call with them and see if they're fit for your program, to see if they can benefit from your product.
Cool.
Yeah.
So then, let's project that a year from now.
Yeah.
How do you see the music side of things progressing, and how do you see the business, we'll call it the course mentoring business side of things progressing?
Yeah. So for the business, we've done over $350K in revenue since launch.
Wow.
Under 2 years.
Incredible. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, and so I expect that to 3, 4, 5x at least. That's my dream. Like I want that.
Yeah. Why? Why do you want that?
I want to serve that many people. I want the lifestyle I associate with having that level of financial income, which honestly I already kind of have, to be honest. It's really just, I have time to make music and to do what I want, and I answer to myself. Like, that's the goal. The 2-3 million in revenue, whatever. That, like, I don't care about the money. I care about having the freedom and the time to spend time with people I love and do what I care about and to serve others in the way that I want to do that and what feels good to me. And so to me, that, that revenue goal aligns with that. And dude, I'm trying to give more in actual value to every single person than I take in terms of cash value. That's like a core principle of mine.
So quick question. If you have, it sounds like you have that now. I think you might have even exactly said that. Why then continue to grow?
Because I want to help. It's a good question. I think, making more money does get me there. So, okay, one thing is I have to work for money right now.
Sure.
If I stop working, I stop paying the rent. Yep. I'm not at that point with my investments yet where my money's working for me enough to where I don't have a choice. I have to work.
Yeah.
I love what I do, but I want the choice to work.
Yeah.
And at my current revenue level, it'll take me about 20 years to get there. Or maybe like 10 if I really save frugally, which is great, but I want to be there in like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be there in 3 years. And I think that stems from being so scared about money when I lost my job, honestly, and not knowing like when that next paycheck's going to come from. Like, my goal is to really build that financial freedom for myself by the time that I'm 30, so that, not that I take on clients that aren't aligned with me, but like, so that I don't have to take on clients that aren't aligned with me if it were to come to that and I needed the money.
Yeah.
I don't have to necessarily like take shows that maybe I don't want to take or something like that. I have no, money's invested. It's working for me. I got the dividends coming in, all that stuff, and survival is covered no matter whether I work. And I want that in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. It's interesting
because I value what I perceive that as bringing to my life.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're setting yourself up in a way where like the music can just be a creative outlet and there doesn't have to be expectation on, like you just said, like
it's a huge blessing, dude. Yeah. Yeah. The mentorship has been a huge blessing, and I'm actually helping people a lot too. And they're raving about the program, which is just an honor to me because that's all I wanted from the beginning was to give people something that actually works and gets them to where they want to be. And, that's not to say everyone gets that result working with me, but everyone who has worked in the way that I've told them to and who has worked with me has gotten, I would say, the result, which to me is just being able to make the music they want to and knowing, having the confidence that it sounds professional and it's going to be well received and it'll translate on big systems. Because from there, the sky's the limit. You can build your brand. You can start to get shows because promoters will take you seriously because you have good music now. And then you're going to build fans. It's just going to happen for you.
Yeah.
And that also comes back to the mindset of like the universe, spiritual side of things, of like everyone has a purpose, man. Like we all have things, we all have these things that light us up. For you, it's taking people to raves, right? Or well, I'm sure among other things, you know, your podcast. Like for me, I don't want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like for you, don't. Well, maybe you do, but you don't like want to make music as much, or not like I do, right?
No, I don't want to make music.
Yeah, it's like we all have. It's so. Isn't it so interesting how we all have these things that just light us up?
Yeah.
So I believe everyone has those things, and like maybe you don't feel like you know what that is for you yet, but well, I would push you to believe that first, to just believe that there is something like that for you. Maybe you just want to own a breakfast restaurant, or like or your own diner, or like. I don't know. Maybe you want to just like serve, I don't know, like single moms or something. Like that's such a random example. One of my friends does something like that. Like helps kind of single moms get back into the dating scene, which is why I don't know. It's a random example.
That's funny, yeah.
But it's like it's different for everybody, and that's That's what makes life beautiful. That's what makes all of us beautiful and unique and special, is that we all have these things that light us up in our own way. You know? Totally.
So in 5 years from now.
And that's also, you know, you asked before how to feel good when you're in those negative places. This is low hanging fruit. When you're anxious, like, what do you love to do? If you know what you love to do, you can go do it when you feel anxious, and maybe it'll take your mind off those things a bit, and you can get that positive focus back, get back into the flow. So, but 5 years.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, before I get there, like, I love that. I very much believe that passion is a divine force, meaning like we don't know necessarily why we feel passionate about certain things, but it's there for a reason. And it makes us feel so good when we like are working on those things. So how could we not, how could we ignore those feelings? How can we ignore that passion? That's kind of how I'm thinking about this in my current chapter of my life. It's like, if I'm passionate about this, like, I got to work on it. And maybe that doesn't, like, you know, if someone's like in a full-time job and supporting themselves, paying the bills, whatever, they don't have, 10 hours a day to work on their passion, but they might have 10 minutes, Yeah. And then that 10 minutes grows, like, whatever it may be.
Absolutely, man.
But 5 years from now, if it all goes according to plan, if it all goes well, where do you see yourself?
Ooh, that's fun. That's fun. I see myself at the level of like the projects of Grizz, Subtronics, Tape B, headlining act, top of the billing at festivals. Maybe even having my own festival.
Cool.
But yeah, really just, having this broader, bigger level of impact. Dude, I want to be in a spot where I could like donate millions of dollars. Like I want to be so financially abundant that I can start to give back to charities and like make an actual difference in the world on like a big societal level, man.
In what areas, like what charities? Like,
I don't know yet. This isn't like very granular at this time. It's kind of just, it's a new growing intuition that I've been having lately. But like, I want to use my influence to teach people what I believe to be true about life. I want to get into the school systems and start teaching kids what they actually need to know. Like, here's what emotion is. Like, here's what thoughts are. Here, dude, we got to teach the kids about vibration and the law of attraction and all. Like, why are we not teaching this stuff, dude? It's ridiculous to me. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That we don't teach energy and it's just like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, kids need to know they're the creator of their reality, and they can have anything they want, and not in a hedonistic way, although you can certainly have that too, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So, and that's to each her own, all right? Like, you have to know that too. But it's like everyone needs to know that there's an infinite well source of energy that makes up this universe.
Yeah.
Some call it God, some call it source, call it however you wish. But that energy is willing and ready to serve you into creating life that you want. And abundance and money isn't this competitive thing. It's a creative thing. And we can all, dude, there's so many books that talk about this. Like thinking, check out like Think and Grow Rich. The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles, E Squared, Pam Grout, Brian's work. Like the Vedic teachings, Ayurvedic teachings, the Rishis, the Buddha. Dude, this has been everywhere for years. But we've somehow lost it and thought that, like, there's this competitive mindset where we have to get what the other guy gets before he gets it, or else we're going to be left without it. And I'm here to tell you that's just not how it works.
Yeah, well,
it just isn't.
We're conditioned in that way.
We are.
Zero-sum game, largely through capitalism, which I am not taking a stance on capitalism. I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of where it comes from. It's just like a winner and a loser, and yeah. Yeah,
and it's like, sure. I mean, I like, sure, some, in games there is like a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
But I think music and like being an EDM artist is such a good example of this, of where. Of the fact that this is actually true. Because, like, okay, sure, like, there's only so many festival slots at Lost Lands. Right. But, like, for example. But, I mean, if you really want to play a festival, like, that desire can come to you through so many festivals. Like, there's so many festivals you could play. And if there's enough artists who want to play festivals and there's not enough festival slots, someone will get the idea to start a new festival. In fact, many people are getting that idea now, and or Lost Lands will expand. There'll be more artists next year. And it's like, if you have a dream, if you have a desire, and that's a genuine, heartfelt, in alignment desire, I believe it is fundamentally true that you can achieve that.
Yeah.
And I think where we need to get more skilled is in the surrender of how it happens. It's our job to know what we want and why we want it, and not how it's going to come. That's not up to us. That's the job of the subconscious mind. So, and then this other great book, It Works, by, I think, R.H. Jarrett. He calls it the subjective mind versus the objective mind. So the subjective mind is the power of the subconscious. We have to learn to let the certain parts of our mind do what they're meant to do. It's a law of nature. Because you don't know how the desire could come to you. You literally can't know that. Like, you're not conscious enough to know that. You don't need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
You figure out what you want and why, and you let your subconscious mind take care of the rest. Mm. And that's the whole thing in a nutshell. It's actually very simple.
Mm.
And that's when you start to experience synchronicity in your life. And the more positive emotion you feel, the more synchronicity you experience. I believe that's a law of the universe. And you'll, like, again, don't take my word for it. Read E squared, do the balloon experiment, feel good, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
I love the confidence that you have. I think that's just, like, refreshing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's important. And yeah, I also come at it with an asterisk of, like, I want to present this as hypothesis. Like, I want you to prove it to yourself.
Sure.
And I don't want to present it as some incontrovertible truth, although I do believe it to be that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So we have a segment on this podcast where the last guest asks the next guest a question without knowing who it's going to be. So last guest was Captain, and he asks if you had to explain, like, the EDM festival community, the EDM community, to an alien or just someone that had no idea what it was in a minute or less, how would you do that?
I think it's the biggest human awakening that has ever been experienced.
Ooh, juicy.
Like, I mean, if you think about what we're doing, like, we're gathering together to listen to these frequencies that other people are conveying to us to feel good together and to have a good time. And I think, you've probably had, a lot of people probably had the experience of, like, maybe you're working your job and life's not so good. You go to a festival and you have this upsurge of positive energy in you, and it's like life changing. And then you go back and it's like kind of back to the mundane. And it's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, what just happened is that's how good life actually is. And we're starting to get a taste of that, because humanity has had a rough go for a long time now, dude. Oh man, we've had a rough go. Wars and poverty and disease and just all this shit, man. And, like, that's not how life's supposed to be. And that, to me, is what we're starting to realize at these shows. Is that life is supposed to be about plur and love and respect and kindness and sharing these experiences together and having the money we want to have, having the experiences, the love, the friendship, the romance, whatever it is that we want to have, being fulfilled in our career, doing things we're passionate about, spending our time doing things we give a shit about instead of slaving away for someone else that we don't. And I think that's what humanity is realizing in a big way in general. And I believe bass music especially is at the forefront of that realization. And that's why it's so special being an artist, because I believe as an artist, it's our duty to spread that message and to embody that for the people who are still learning how to embody it. And I do believe, you know, I do believe that like there's I mean, it's like a skill. It's like going to school. You know, we were learning how to embody these truths. And I think I'm someone who's intentionally done that more than most people. I feel like in that realm, I'm a little further ahead than most people. Not in like, oh, look at me kind of way. It's a skill, right? It's something we all have to learn. And I believe as an artist, it's our duty to like embody that and to spread that message and to, you know, convey that through our music to the people who are still learning that like, they are beautiful and powerful and worthy unconditionally now, today.
Yeah.
And I think as artists, I believe what artists are doing is they're tapping into that truth perhaps a little bit faster than the general populace. And again, we're all equal. Like, that's not the point. But I believe that's why we're called to be artists, is because we're like conveying that through our music in a way.
Interesting.
I hope that didn't come across as like offensive or anything. That's not the point. Like, you know, we're all figuring this shit out together.
It's like you're channeling some eternal truth.
Yes.
And
exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly right.
That's fascinating. I wasn't expecting an answer like that.
That's like how I think of it. Is
yeah.
Like, it's the biggest awakening of history, and we're on the forefront of it in bass music, like genuinely. And that's what's happening at these festivals, dude. Is that's what's being communicated, not necessarily with words, but with feeling itself. And like the feeling to me is the truth of it. And that's why these festivals are so healing, dude. And that's why, I mean, that's why it's such an honor to be an artist and like to bring that to people. And dude, I talk to people every day. Some of them work with me and some of them don't. They all say the same, who want to be artists, and they all say the same thing. Like, I want to have an impact through my music, the same impact that music had on me. And I want to change people's lives with something that I made. That's what they all say. And unfortunately, not all of them are going to do that, because they get too in their head, or, you know, maybe they don't have the money for mentorship or whatever it is. But unfortunately, a lot of them will do that too. So it goes both ways. But yeah.
Sweet, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
it was a cool one. I wasn't
wrapping it up.
Yeah, no, I just like, I think it's a good way to end it. Like, it's really optimistic, and I happen to like agree, and I hadn't really considered that. Like, I really had to consider that take before, and I really like it.
Dude, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
And just like hearing your story was really inspiring. So
dude, thanks for having me.
Of course, like I'm
great.
confident your story and hearing the journey, the ups and the downs, lefts and rights, will inspire many.
Much love, man.
Dude,
all the love.
Much love.
Appreciate
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.
This is great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. If any part of this episode resonated with you, I'd really appreciate it if you dropped a like, comment, share, or even just subscribe. Much love.